Okay, I'm ready. Thanks for your patience, everybody. We're going to begin the May 18th series of public hearings before we begin our regular town meeting at 7. Ordinance O-23-11, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach amending the adopted general fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to transfer funds in the amount of $550,000 from unspent reimbursement ARPA funds expenditure line item to transfer out utility fund expenditure line item for usage of ARPA funds to offset the utility fund budgeted expenses. If anybody has any comment on that, please step forward. If not, I'll move on to the next one. This is the part where I need a lot of water, a lot of reading. Ordinance O-23-12. An ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach amending the adopted water reclamation treatment plant fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to adjust anticipated contributions to revenue from third parties to offset decrease in utility costs as a result of the amended utility fund rate schedule. If anybody has a comment on this ordinance, please step forward. Now I'll move on to the next one. Ordinance O-23-13. An ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach amending the adopted general fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for fiscal year July 1 of 22 to June 30 of 23 to recognize uncollectible debt expenses related to forgiven general fund loan to the utility fund for capital projects in the amount of $1,600,000. Anybody has a comment, please come forward. Bring none, I'll move on to the next one, which is ordinance O-23-14, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the adopted utility fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year from July 1 of 22 to June 30 of 23 to recognize restricted loan proceeds from forgiven general fund loan to utility fund for capital projects in the amount of $1,600,000. Any comment, please come forward. Ordinance O-23-15, an ordinance to the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the adopted utility fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to reallocate revenue funds with a net increase of $350,000, offset by an increase in capital project expense line item in the amount of $350,000 for usage of forgiven loan proceeds restricted for capital expenses. Anyone has a comment on that ordinance, please step forward. Hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearings?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Folks, we got to wait 5 minutes, so we'll start at 7 promptly. Thank you.
Does that look so right?
Or yeah. Good. Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we got
Good
here.
15 by you.
Okay, folks, 7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody, to the May 18th Town Council meeting. I feel like I'm at a football game, and that's a good thing. Let the record read that the entire council minus Councilwoman Bodine is here. At this time, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the Republic of the
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the ayes have it. Okay. Before we begin the next part of our meeting, I'm going to hopefully set the theme for the evening, which will be the town and the Beach Buccaneers Board of Directors partnering to move forward. Transparent accounting practices by the Bucks leadership and providing the town and public with ongoing information related to revenue and expenses will ensure that the unfortunate transgressions of the past do not reoccur. This financial transparency required by the youth sports agreement with the town being provided with all facets of your record keeping is crucial to this partnership as we work to build trust between a long-standing community organization and the town. Bucks leadership has provided us with the assurance that this will take place without interruption. I applaud them and thank them for that. I have faith that this is a positive turning point for all and look forward to a positive partnership of transparency and benefit to the families of the town of Chesapeake Beach and Calvert County. By achieving this, the town will continue to support the Beach Bucks with annual grants and continue to spend the annual $175,000 that is our cost to support the current youth sports program at Kellums Field. We look forward to investing approximately $445,000 in capital improvements at Kellums Field over the next year at Kellums Field. So it will continue to be the best football field in Southern Maryland that the boys and girls who wear orange and black deserve. I thank the Beach Bucks Board of Directors for working with the town as a team, for understanding that leadership is about moving forward, not looking backwards, and committing to creating this positive, transparent environment for our local youth. So I conclude by saying to the entire Beach Bucks community, you are welcomed guests of the people of Chesapeake Beach. Having your children, parents, guests, and volunteers use the town field is an honor. Thank you. Having said that, the next part of the meeting is public comment on any item on the agenda. And if there's anyone here that wants to, is with the Bucks organization and they wish to make a comment, this would be the time of the meeting to do such.
Hi, my name's Kristen Gibbons. I think you guys want my address. It's 4311 Hardesty Court, Huntingtown, Maryland, 20639. Mr. Mayor and board members, thank you for having the Beach Bucks tonight and giving us the opportunity to speak on behalf of our beloved organization, better yet, our family. Bucks, we knew you'd guys be here. Thank you. I speak as a Beach Bucks mom, not a board member at this moment. I'm a Beach Bucks mom, a team mom, a coach, and a board member. If you see me out, I'm in orange and black. I live for these kids and the countless days at the field surrounded by our friends and family, and so do our children. I'd like to address several things that I know will be brought up much later tonight. And I emphasize much later because you people, Mayor Pat, Holly, put us at the very last agenda item. Knowing we have children at home, knowing some supporters wouldn't be able to stay, trying to discourage people from staying and showing their support. What people here don't know is that the Bucks and the town recently had a meeting. I can tell you as a board member, we were ecstatic. We had finally squashed the past. We had proven that we are moving forward, and we agreed to move forward together. As a board, we were ecstatic. Tonight, right before our president gets up to speak and share this statement of unity and a vision of moving forward, a statement that was approved not only by our board, but the town's board as well. You people are going to show a slideshow to try to demean us one last time. I was never bullied as a child, thankfully, but I can only imagine what it feels like. And this is it. Fighting for something you believe in so much, something you and your friends put everything they have into, just to have someone come along and try to screw it all up. Yet here we are still fighting. Not for us, but for our children and the children of this town and the Beach Bucks. I had bullet points written out to rebuttal all of your misinformation provided in this slideshow, but I decided it's not worth my time to continue to fight with you people. The town makes no revenue off of the Beach Buccaneers, and I truly believe that this is the reason you continue to fight with this organization. You'll never change, no matter what we say here tonight or in the coming months. It won't change. We need a change in leadership in this town. We need someone who cares about our children, our community, and the value that the Bucks have brought to this town for the last 43 years. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Jones.
My name is Steve Jones. I live at 7877 Old Bayside Road. I've been a town resident for 33 years and a member of the Buccaneers for that same 33 years as well. I raised my family in this community and embraced the small town values that this board and council seems to grasp a hold of. I'd like to think you may not recognize my name or my face. I think most of you recognize my voice, as you hear it quite often on Saturday mornings, as I'm the announcer for the field announcer for the Beach Buccaneers. I'd hate for that voice to be silent or silenced by actions that occur here tonight. And it's my hope that the parties will entertain sincere and earnest discussions moving forward, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Please.
Hello, my
Evening,
name is
sir.
Steven Stowers. I live at 3700 Willie Lane, Chesapeake Beach, Maryland.
Mhm.
I played for the Beach Buccaneers 35 years ago. So I've been a member of this community for a really long time. These people put everything into this for these kids. I can't even tell you how many times I think back to the experiences I had on that field, practices, everything, what I learned, the leadership that I learned, how to work as a team towards a common goal. You can't take that from these kids. They need this. They don't have nothing in this town. Most parents can't afford to send their kids to the water park. They have nothing. Please don't take this. Thank you.
We won't.
I wasn't going to do this, but sorry, guys. My name is Cheryl Emery, and actually, I'm an honorary citizen of Chesapeake Beach as of 22 years ago. The fight that we had over this field in the back seems to have been lost in all of this, whatever it is. Needless to say, this beach here was donated by Mr. Kellum. I can't remember his name now. Sorry.
Buddy.
Mr. Kellum. And it was to be used for children's sports, no adult sports, children's sports in the Twin Beaches area, not just the Chesapeake Beach, but in North Beach as well, and any other child that wanted to be part of this organization. I guess that's one of my biggest concerns is the battle that we went through. And this was done with state money, Maryland state money, and with Calvert County money. I don't know where Town of Chesapeake Beach got so controlling over this area and these kids. They want 50% of all board members to be Chesapeake Beach residents. They want 50% participants to be Chesapeake Beach residents. That was never the purpose for this field. I don't know what else to tell you, except I've been out of the beach for 20 years. I've lived in the beach for 38. I am appalled that it has come to this. There is no reason for this to continue. When you start saying, oh, it's our field, well, you know what? I'm sure that field is worth millions of dollars. Maybe we ought to do a trade-off, and whatever we need now, you can sell it later. I can't help but feel that there's a monetary advantage that's being looked for here. These kids, I've had people contact me, kids, parents, grandparents, that say, I don't know what I would have done without the Beach Buccaneers. My kid is now playing JV football. My other kids have set a life goal that they learned from the Beach Buccaneers. You can't take that away from these kids. This is supposed to be a family-friendly town. When we first started this, 40 plus years ago, Chesapeake Beach paid for every child from Chesapeake Beach to register with the Beach Buccaneers. Now granted, at the time, it's like $25 or $35. Now I'm understanding it's $150. Now, if you have more than one kid, you just have two kids, that's $300. That's too much. They can't pay that. We have in our bylaws that we will allow any child, I don't care where they're from, any child that needs to be in the Beach Buccaneers with that guidance and that self-assurance that this causes, then we'll let them in for free. I don't understand. I mean, I really don't understand. Gerald Donovan, a lot of people have problems with him. Gerald Donovan would have done anything for these kids that we asked. Mike Miller is another one. He would have done anything for these kids in this area, not just Chesapeake Beach kids. This entire Twin Beach area. When I first came down here, this area was referred to as beach trash. Any of the old timers would tell you that that's true. The Beach Buccaneers made the big difference down here, not the water park because it didn't even exist. These kids had nothing to do. We gave them something to do. We gave them goals. We gave them values. We gave them self-worth. And at this point in time, I see you guys trying to take that away, and that's wrong. And that's why I got involved again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is, public comment. I'm gonna, I guess, I made a message, before that, and I just wanna, say that, there's no intention on anybody's part to take the kids off the field. I've done nothing since we've had it, an issue, but work it to ensure that these children will be able to play on the field, that those gates will never be closed. And as I said, I mean, I'm sure most of you heard me say it, that it's an honor to have the children, parents, guests, and volunteers on the town field. As a lot of you know, I coached soccer in this county for 15 years. I'm sure a lot of you guys there did too. Paid enormous fees, just like everyone does too, to the organizations. I know we have at least 2 members of the council whose children are or have been a part of the Bucks family. Having said that, I'm over there every Saturday. I love the Bucks. I wear my Bucks colors, and I've worked very hard to make a reality what is happening right now, and that is basically we are moving forward with the Bucks Board of Directors to ensure that children in Northern Calvert County, because that's what it is, it's the beaches and Northern Calvert County, no regard for who's what and how many, but that these children will be able to play and cheer football on our field. And we are going to, as I said earlier, we're going to commit what would be basically $1 million over 3 years to that field, because we want the Bucks. There's no doubt about it. We want the Bucks. I think you all want us. It's a beautiful field. It's great. I know your visitors are always happy when they come here. I walk by the visiting team. So I think that we all are moving forward to a common goal, and even more, we will achieve that goal. Town's going nowhere. The Bucks are going nowhere. So I mean, I don't know that I could be any more clear that you have a friend sitting right here in the middle seat and the seats to my right and left. So having said that, I'm happy that we've reached this. You take grown adults, you put them in a room, with the goal of problem solving, which is what we've done. There are problems, just you solve them, and you never keep the kids off the field. And that is what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So I think we're all like-minded in moving forward, and that's what we're going to do. So that's my second set of comments on that. And I thank you all for, coming out. And I wanted to make sure that the public comment went up at the beginning of the meeting, because I remember when I was raising kids and there's homework and all that kind of stuff. So having said that, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Real quick.
Mhm.
My name is Jamie Scholes, 8312 Legacy Circle in Chesapeake Beach. I just want to clearly state that I'm the one who has done all the audit research since January of 2023. Any questions, concerns, ask me. I can also give a perspective on this. But I would say, Mayor, I sat in this office right here on Tuesday. We had a great conversation, as described earlier, about moving forward. I would say that the slide deck later on does not show moving forward. So if we're going to state that, just like you put the hand down and said we're moving forward, we need to reevaluate how the agenda of this meeting is going to occur. Thank you.
Yeah. And Jamie's been a great person. He's spent so much of his volunteer time, digging out of a hole, and he's a smart guy, and he's lending his volunteer time to the organization, and I think he's a big part of this, moving forward. So I thank you, sir. Yeah. Okay. At this time, we're going to receive public comment from Gary Goldsmith.
Evening, Gary Goldsmith, 8200 Elm Lane, Chesapeake Beach. Basically, I'm here. I've sent you all a letter, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to understand who I was and see who I am. I don't think a lot of you know me. I'll give you a little bit of my background. I've lived here for 23 years. I've been in construction for 53 years, commercial construction, and I do supervision and quality control manager. Basically, I work with specifications and drawings and codes and things like that. So I had a complaint. I voiced it to you in the form of a letter, and I've been assured by the mayor that they'll look into it. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity to see who was sending the letter.
Good seeing you again, Gary. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Is Bobby Abner here? Okay. Moving forward, approval of the minutes of the April 20th town council meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Approval of the minutes of the May 9th special town meeting.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes
Aye.
have it. Approval of the minutes of the May 9th informational work session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And lastly, approval of the minutes of the May 9th, 2023 closed session.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Next, we're going to, you doing this part here. We have a proclamation for the recently departed North Beach Fire Department President, Matt Weber. I think a lot of you know Matt, and I'll ask at this time, before we talk about the presentation, if we could just have a moment of silence for the lost president. Thank you very much. Okay. Town administrators.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes. Oh, I missed it. Thank you, sir. That's why you're.
That's why I'm here. As many of you know, I'm a member of the fire department as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's people out there that did not know Matt Weber's first name was Matt. He went by Mad Dog. Everybody knew him as Mad Dog. For those of you who know our fire department, on our turnout gear on the rear end, we have a little name flap on the bottom of the turnout gear with our name on it. Mine says L. Jaworski. His said Mad Dog. So he was he's quite a person. He's been a member of our department for decades. I understand his history is he joined the Greenbelt Fire Department 50 years ago. He was also a member in DC for a long time. We were fortunate to receive a proclamation from Senator Michael Jackson, and I will read that for the record. The Maryland General Assembly, in memoriam, be it hereby known to all that sincerest sympathy is extended to the family of President Matthew Weber, North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. I mourn your loss and extend my deepest sympathies. My thoughts and prayers are and will remain with you. Presented on this third day of May 2023 by Senator Michael Jackson of Calvert, Charles, and Prince George's Counties, Legislative District 27. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Town Administrator's report. Anything outstanding you want to share?
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Mayor. So one highlight, I want to let the public know that I have been in coordination with State Highway on several intersections that have been a concern of our Walkable Community Committee, specifically Route 260, 261 intersection and Mears Avenue, as well as adding in the intersection heading towards Bayfront Park near Chesapeake Village. I have heard back from State Highway District 5 office, and we have a pending meeting. They have conducted additional studies after the recent injury on Mears Avenue, and so we should be hearing back soon, and I will include Walkable Community Committee. Also, I wanted to congratulate Sergeant Schrouder on his promotion to First Sergeant Patrol. Unfortunately, he's going to be leaving the Twin Beaches and serving as the commander of the patrol squad for Calvert County
If
Sheriff's
you will
Office.
stand, sir.
We will miss Sergeant Schrouder greatly and hope that he will find his way back to the beach soon.
Okay, I'll start with Councilwoman Hartman.
I did have questions. I'm just curious on page 3. So we are waiting for Kellums Field.
Referring to the
for
MOU with the county.
approval.
Yes, I did hear from the acting director of public works from the county on the MOU. He said he is close and has promised a quick follow-up on that. So
Super. And then on page 4, I have a question on the pocket parks. You mentioned 3 parks. I know of 2. Have we picked a site for the 3rd park, or are we still outstanding on that?
so we have the northern access point to Kellums is one of the
Okay,
pocket
that's what
parks.
they're calling a pocket park.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. And then I had a question on the coastal resiliency on page 6. Majority of the actions, these are all going to be for the water treatment plant, right? The water reclamation plant. So for example, the first few bullets under current adaptive measures,
Correct.
that is all that. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm reading the right locations. And under potential adaptive measures, all but the last one is for the water reclamation plant. Yes, that's what we're referring to.
So all of these are related to the Chesapeake Beach Water Reclamation Treatment Plant. So we conducted our evaluation and risk modeling on the treatment plant itself. And so it's just incorporating the risk of weather related issues.
Right,
So
right,
yes,
right.
all of them.
Okay, very good. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Keith?
Yeah, thank you. I just have one additional question here on page 3. The first item there under the federal dredge, the post-dredge survey was completed and has been requested by the town. When do we expect that?
So there's a stall in their work. I have been in coordination with U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They're not complete yet, obviously with the jetty wall work. So once they complete that, they will do an additional survey, and then we would receive that. So they have not completed the work yet.
Okay, so the dredge has been completed though, right? And the survey would be of the dredge itself? Is that?
Right. So they did a survey after the dredge.
Mhm.
After they do the jetty work, they're going to survey again in case any material needs to be removed from the channel, from the jetty work.
And when will that jetty work? So I've been looking at it and it seems like all the equipment is kind of just sitting in the same place day after day. When will that resume or?
I am waiting for an update from U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, but I will get an update soon. I know Councilman Jaworski had asked the same question, waiting for an update from the Corps.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Holly. I want to mention something. I know that I'm very thankful that Holly Wall is on our team. This packet that she puts together each month, it's a heavy lift. We're engaged with a lot of things, a lot of moving parts. And I do believe that, actions and the reports and our efforts are certainly to protect and to benefit the taxpayers here in our town. Not just supporting outside the town beach buck items, but the getting to some specificity here, the safe routes to school. I know this has been on our agenda for 6.5 years. How long have we been waiting for the state highway approval of the RFP? Where are we with that?
I'd say approximately 6 months. We did have some action on that last week with the MBE-DBE minority participation designation. So they awarded 28% on the project. So we will have to, that's our goal, to make sure that we have enough minority participation when we do release the RFP. So that was incorporated into the RFP packet. I sent that back to the state for final review. So we have had some activity this week. So we're hoping in the next month that we'll be able to release that.
I've been involved in a lot of state contracts for construction, and I'm very familiar with the DB programs in the state. The 28%, is there a split in that, or is it just a general overall goal?
It's a general overall goal.
It's one thing I'd mention there that it's not limited to construction partners. It's also includes 60%. I think the state rule is that they allow 60% of materials purchased from DBE companies to apply towards that goal. So I know that Jay is pretty adept at, and you both are very adept at saving the town taxpayers money with trying to purchase materials and things of that sort. But that's something to consider when time comes to put together some of those contracts. Let's see. Oh, the Miller Loveless Park. A vendor had reached out to me, said that had helped out with some of the design. I think they wanted to be part of the bidding process. Is that?
Like all rec? Yes. Yes. So we have extensive work to do on the tot lot there, but we cannot start it until we get the storm drain in. So that's part of that MOU with the county. But we do have several vendors who are very interested in installing some beautiful playground equipment there.
Is he going to be included in that lot
Yes.
when the time comes? Okay, just wondering as an aside. Generally, too, with the state highway engagement that we have, I know I've spoken about it before. The median at 260 that needs to be truncated, that's near the Octagon. For the benefit of some of the folks here tonight, and I've certainly seen, some of you in here have seen accidents, rear ends there trying to turn left coming out of town. And I strongly feel that median needs to be truncated to make it safer to turn in there. And I think I was requesting that we try to weave that into some conversations with State Highway, see if we could get any traction there. Have we had any success or trying to do anything?
I'll be sure to add that to the District 5.
Thank you. Being on the Kellums Committee, I feel a delinquent, it's probably not the right word, but not having a good report each council meeting. I know that there's a variety of things happening in and around the Kellums complex there. I see on here, we've got some dogwoods planned for the Kellums parking lot area. Is the green team aware of that? I guess.
Yes.
It's interesting that the green team is aware of that, but the Kellums committee not aware of that. Certainly not opposed to any of that, but this is kind of how I have felt that we've found out about some of the changes there. As an aside there.
The trees were part of the master plan that was put together. There was always the islands had always planned to have trees. So we did partner with the green team to add some natives for shade and just beautify the area.
Sounds like a good idea. The federal dredge. There's a fella, I don't know his last name. His name is Nate. I believe he's a boat owner down there at the Rod and Reel. And he has he's had visions and has conveyed some visions to me of not just the rod and reel, but the town of Chesapeake Beach being a stop along the way for just private vehicles, private boats that are, up and down the bay, not just for the fishing boats. For economic development, I know Larry, I think you were down. He mentioned that you had been down there for and there celebrating his business down there. So that's just something for us to keep in mind. I know Valerie's not here this evening, and she's definitely all about dredging, and his concern is certainly about making sure that channels are clear, and we're doing the best that we can, working with our federal and or state partners and trying to keep that clear. But I'd like to talk to the ownership of the Rod and Reel sometime over coffee about that vision, and maybe now they are hosting that as a private vessel, and there's some places to stop. If not, what can we do to try to facilitate some of that? It seems completely appropriate for this town. The town, under the town assets with Kellum's Field, I know that we're waiting on the county involvement in this, and you had an update there with the town attorney with that, and with all of the delays that we've endured at the state level with various programs and permits for different things, on the county level, it seems like it should be easy. I have reached out to our new representative, Catherine Grasso, on several issues. She's never responded to me. I don't know if that is her way, or she's going to try to find my phone to call me. Maybe part of that is because until my last email to her, I haven't ever introduced myself as councilman. It's just been resident of the town, and she is my representative in that capacity. So some of these issues, current and some other things that we're going to need some good county involvement on, and figuring out some issues. What say you, Catherine Grasso?
Mr. Morris, I can help you with that.
Or she's reached out to you. Yeah. Well,
I can put you in touch.
yeah. Okay. Let's see the coastal Brazilian. That's about it. I don't have any other further questions, but thank you, Holly.
Thank you. Sir.
I'll try to move along quickly. Just some quick schedule updates. I ask, I think, once a month. Any updates on the Safe Walkway 261 and the fire department, the Jaworski Memorial Walkway? Any updates?
Wayne is working on that. So Wayne, if you're available, if you wanted to provide an update.
30% alignment submittal together for the state. As soon as that's together, we'll get it submitted for funding.
Okay, thank you. Just a comment on the second page under the energy audit. I think that's critical, and hopefully we'll be able to share that with the Climate Change Advisory Group when it's done. Answer my question about the jetty wall construction. That empty barge has been sitting out there for months now, so hopefully be able to get rid of that soon. Under coastal resiliency grant, good stuff there. Further meetings are coming. I'm going to update some of that in my report on the Climate Change Advisory Group. I have been trying to continue to request update from State Highway. We met with them, gosh, I don't even remember when, many months ago, to discuss the flooding that occurred along 261 right there by the old Stinnett site. And they said that they were conducting a study. I've sent them numerous emails asking for an update, have not received any responses. So I will continue to follow up with them on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, most of my questions have already been answered. A lot of good comments there. First thing I will do is just echo the thanks to Holly, particularly as it relates to walkability, because we've been, trying to get as clear a message as possible out there. And this report, which represents no small level of effort on Holly's part, the town administrator's part, is very much appreciated. I just have a couple quick questions on this. One, Wayne, since you're still with us, I'm just going to jump to the safe walkway along Route 261, aka the Jaworski Memorial Walkway. The blurb here that the town engineer is completing a feasibility study is the same then detailed in your report that you just summarized for Councilman Jaworski. Is that right?
Correct.
So the feasibility study is checking these boxes that are remaining in this paragraph. Do you have any sense of, I know I'm asking you to probably make something up, but any sense of the timing of that being completed so that it's then in an evaluation stage?
We will have the 30% design done sometime midsummer, Charlie. And then it's going to go to the state highway for funding. It's going to go into that pool where they review things. Time frame for them to review, I can't predict, but typically they have been 3 to 5 months to get a review done.
No, and that I wasn't even asking for a commitment from them. I was more looking for when we would have that to them. So that's, you're saying midsummer, that's outstanding.
Midsummer for 30% design submittal, correct.
Great, thank you. On the safe routes to school, Holly, I had made notes on this document in advance of our walkability meeting on Monday, and you had an update on Monday. Was that the, what was that? I won't try to guess. The update that just happened, is it this week? Is that what you enumerated for Councilman Morris?
Yes, I apologize. We were notified of our minority participation
Right.
requirement, and that was included in our RFP and went back to the state for final approval.
And you have not, and that was last week. It just didn't make this report.
That's correct. The minority participation was awarded. The RFP went back to the state this week.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for that. And then the last question I have are just on the pocket parks. We had talked about a while ago, spring. I'm just curious. We have an idea when we might be able to put shovels in the ground.
It's very close to going out for award, and I'm hoping to have that back to town council next month so that we can
Wow.
start work.
Okay, so that's, wow, that's exciting. Okay, cool. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Operations Manager's report. We've read Carla's exciting report. If you have any questions of Carla? Actually, Carla, you probably have a few fun announcements about the upcoming Stars and Stripes. Maybe you want to
Sure. Yeah.
share that?
Of course. So one thing that we're venturing into actually with the water park this year is we have a lot of interest in private events. We're constantly looking at ways to utilize our town asset. And our first event this year will be our town family fun night. And that's for town residents. And that'll be on, if you haven't received your postcard in the mail, you can pick one up today. But, and it's also on, or you can come to town hall and pick up a postcard. Reservations are required. It is May 27th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. We've also put out 2 promos for our opening weekend, for Memorial Day weekend. We have active duty military free passes, as well as Gold Star family and veteran free passes. So please look on our social media for ways to get those tickets. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions, Charlie, of the report?
No, it's a good report. I don't have any questions this time. Thanks.
Councilman?
Thank you, Carla, for the updates, and just a reminder about the ceremony at Veterans Park at 10 a.m.
Yes.
on that same day. Please show up. If you're a resident of the town, you should have received this in the mail, which is your ticket to get into the family fun night. Click on the thing there. I've got a stack of them up here, so if you didn't get one, come on up afterwards. I'll be happy to share it with you. Thank you.
Very good.
Carla, how have ticket sales been at the water park so far?
Sure. To date, sales are lower, but that was expected.
Okay, well, I know that we're not open yet, and it's opening on Memorial Day weekend, so I think that was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the report. I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you for the report, and I really appreciated the write-up explaining the costs for the park that have come up this year.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Carla. Public Works Administrator's report. We've read Jay's report. If we have any questions of Jay, I'll sit with you.
Thank you. I just have a question on page 1. What's a transducer? Numbers, second one.
Sure. In our wet wells, it checks the level by a transducer. Most people think of a transducer on a boat with echolocations, but this transducer works off of PSI. So it knows
Okay.
how much the level is when the pump comes on and when it goes off.
Right. Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you. And I was looking at page 2, the second paragraph from the bottom. You were talked about the anode deterioration, and it was 1.5 ounces a year. What is normal?
That's a good question. So there's a lot of data and a lot of different things, and I've done some research with WSSC and other counties. So there is no normal. You kind of observe and you stay ahead of it. There's a lot of elements if you read in that report, and I'm still waiting on BG&E to do a planned shutoff to understand exactly how much current is in the ground versus the reaction between two metals in the soil. So all I know is that the two things that I went to, I did the math on how much deteriorated over a certain amount of time and then put enough anodes as we move forward to give it a 100-year life. But as mentioned in my report, that's kind of a long Band-Aid. It's still not the cure to the problem. And we're still actively trying to work with BG&E and find that out.
Pause. Right. Very
Sure.
good.
And so in a public forum, I wanted to thank you, Councilwoman Hartman, had done some research, not only for the soil sample providers, but also some contacts in BG&E. So thank you for that. Sure.
Thank you, Jay. I just wanted to once again commend you on the preventative maintenance plan and the fact that it's saving the town money by doing this proactively to the tune of $490,000. Appreciate that.
Thank you. And so I'm going to take my opportunity to speak to that and assure the council and the public that every penny that was awarded for this project is being spent on the project. And what I mean by that is we're not doing studies. We're not submitting for permits. We're not checking with other agencies. That's a good part in a small town. Dealing with, and I'm not pointing out any agency or process or government beyond us. It's frustrating to see a project spend a quarter of the budget on what are we going to do versus we know a problem. We recognize that the council awarded money and we're solving it to benefit every citizen of the town. And I wanted to thank the residents of Richfield Station have been very patient. It's not fun, but at least we're, getting it done under control. And those areas, we won't be out there at midnight fixing problems. And also it's refreshing for our staff that has been out there at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning to realize every one we dig up is a ticking time bomb. And we've solved it under controlled measures, daylight planned. It's been great. So thank you.
Good evening, Jay. Thanks for all of your hard work and expertise here in the town. Richfield Station Water Park, that the branding there, I know that we've had established that the contractor that was contracted to paint and brand that water tower has balked, I guess, on the branding portion. And it's my understanding that we were holding a $40,000 cash bond there. What is the intent there? Is it to move forward with that as planned and approved by council?
Sure. So coincidentally, we just had a convention with some trainings that one of our staff took and found 2 providers that can provide that work. They're actually meeting me out here next week to give us some cost estimates on the original design and original plan and see what that comes back at.
Yeah, with a $40,000 cash bond there, and it's open discussion talking about, some of these mechanics of some of this stuff here. So that seems like that. Is that twice what the cost is for that? And why is the original vendor walking away from that?
So it's actually not 40, it's 25,000 that we held. And that is the cost of the logo and mobilization.
So we didn't hold a bond that included the cost of the whole project, just the branding.
No, that is the whole project of the logo. The whole logo project, mobilization and installing the logo. That's the cost. So we have that held.
Just that portion of the contract, because their contract was to refurbish or to paint that and then to brand that. So we're saying that now we've got a $25,000 cash bond
Right.
That's to cover the cost of the logo, the branding portion of that only.
Correct. We've paid out on all the other work because it was performed.
So did we release some of that cash bond proportionately? Is that why? Because I distinctly remember that $40,000 cash bonds floated out.
Always been 25. And we only kept what was needed to actually
Okay.
replace the logo
Fair enough.
portion.
Just was wondering what was happening there. My second question, Jay, it's not a loaded question, it's just the wet wells. And I'm not 100% up on all the specificity of some of these things, but I know that there's some required upgrades to a wet well near the Fishing Creek location over there. Those upgrades, well, that particular wet well there, does that serve the community center?
No, that just serves the courtyards
The courtyards. Okay.
and also any future possible development in that area.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. I was a little reluctant to bring some of that up. I mean, we know that, and I'm thinking 2 or 3, 4, 5 years maybe down the road, because as we know, policies and zoning maps can change as councils change. I know that there were plans that developer had applied for permitting for several condominium projects down there. So that wet well upgrade would serve any development down there around the Fishing Creek area. That's a yes, right?
That would, yes, but it's coincidental to the purpose.
Right, right. I'm not saying necessarily, the
Correct.
5-year plan, but just trying to turn over the stones, that's all. It's my only question. Thank you.
Sure.
I had a question about the painting of Richfield Station water tower, but you've already answered that. Thank you. And then just a general retired engineer question. Do you have any luck trying to find a source of the electrolysis problems?
So I've had BG&E out on site twice, and they found the same findings I found when I tested it myself, but according to their parameters, they're allowed a certain amount of leakage and stuff, and they're at that level or below it. So I engaged a third party that the town paid for that came out and found different findings. So now I'm lining them both up at the same time to have a, let's say, certified person that does this, BG&E on site, and come up with exactly what's going on. It measures down into milliamps and 1/1000th of a volt. That's how fine the line is. So in every area, it could be different. And depending on the moisture content of that day, there's so many variables. I can't say that BG&E hasn't been participating or willing, but I find they're looking out for themselves. So we're planning this meeting. I hope to happen in the next 2 weeks, where our third party paid by the town and electrician is there. BG&E is there, and we're actually going to come offline with the grid. We'll let the citizens know that are affected for about 3 hours and test with no power anywhere and see what we come up with to definitively prove that this is caused by underground power. And if you read my report, I'm suspect of this. I've had enough experience doing it. The oldest part of town, which is north of town hall here, is the best infrastructure, but coincidentally, all the power is overhead. Our newer developments where the power is all underground, we have the most problems. So it's pretty obvious to me what's going on, but we need
Well,
to
and-
disprove it.
And I agree with that. And just, as a comment, the extensiveness of the electrolysis damage clearly shows that there's a problem. So
Agreed.
hopefully we'll be able to solve it. Thank you.
Sure.
No additional questions. There's a lot going on, so it's a good report. And there's even some things going on that aren't on here, or at least things you're planning on, including some of the walkway upgrades we talked about in the work session. So I assume they'll make their way onto the report when time comes.
Yes, I've been trying to get a little bit more detailed with my report, so I'll keep it going.
Very good, thank you. Water reclamation treatment plant report. I'll stay right with you, Mr. Fink.
No, I will yield my time to Councilman Jaworski.
Thank you. As always, Josh, thank you for the very detailed report. I had some questions on updates, but a couple of them got answered in later reports. Under Wayne's report, I was going to ask the question about the status on the plans for the updated headworks, but Wayne's report addresses that. that it looks like we're actually going to be moving forward with that, if I got it right. We have received the bid, found it acceptable, recommend approval of phased approach for the project. Is that correct? My understanding correct? I guess, Wayne, that's probably directed more at you. That's in your report.
Yeah. The board, I believe, Prone has done their initial review meeting with Josh and the folks at the plant. They're technically not going to start until July 1, but they were getting ahead of the game and being prepared to start.
Okay. And we are moving ahead with the clarifier cover project, correct?
That is correct. We received some of the equipment and material. They're going to come out and start doing some layout work next week. And tentatively, they're planning to start work on the first clarifier the day after Memorial Day.
Any idea of estimated completion?
I believe the timeline is roughly 3 months.
3 months. Very good. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Sir?
No questions for Josh. Thank you.
Thanks for the report. No questions?
Thank you for the report. No further questions.
Thank you, Josh. Great report. Okay, code enforcement report. We've read Dennis's report. If we have any questions of Dennis, I'll stay over there with the good councilwoman.
Thank you, Dennis. Nice report, and I have no questions.
Appreciate your work, but I have no questions.
Dennis, suddenly we have quite a large report here, it seems. Let's see. I've gotten some reports from, I'm just going to characterize it as property owners near 260, 261 intersection that have felt that the town has been harassing them with some of the code enforcement there. And there've been some unreasonable demands. I mean, that's just, which properties on this report here are in the and I should notice I've been in town for 25 years, but if you could help me, if any, what properties are on here are within, I don't know, I'd say 20 houses of the intersection, 260 and 261, roughly.
Right now, just looking at the map, there's only about 4 houses in that area, and they're on it would be the northern side of 260, back towards the fire department. With this, minor things, there was a big issue with rental properties in that area, and those have been resolved. Failure to obtain a rental license.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. Let's see. Oh, there's, I mentioned this to a colleague, Mr. Jaworski, Councilman Jaworski recently. Coming into town on 261, on the right-hand side, there's a property there. I don't know what it used to serve. There's some concrete.
260, you mean?
261.
From the north or south?
Coming from the south into town on the right-hand side, there's an old property there that's it's on the bay side there. And there's a old concrete slab over there. I'm not sure the gentleman that owns that. It seems like it's turning into some kind of junkyard or something.
Okay.
And
not to interrupt Councilman Morse, but is that before Chesapeake Village? Is that out of town limits?
Is it?
If it's south of Chesapeake Village, yes.
Yeah, I think
that's
I know
maybe
that
what
it's
you're
I
referring
know
to.
that it's a property that, this body has looked into, possibly acquiring it sometime.
It's out of town.
That could still be out of town. Okay, so we've got no jurisdiction on that. That's, I don't know what's going on down there, but it seems like it's turning into a junkyard, and I don't know if we can reach out to the county. I don't know, Grasso again, maybe, but
That's
maybe
that
take a look at
property.
that, because, yeah.
I think there used to be a convenience store years ago that was there.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah.
We all, yeah.
I know
We
which
remember
property
that
you're
one.
talking about.
If we could examine that a little bit somehow, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Dennis, thank you for your report. Just, I guess, a clarification that, are you going to look into the comments from Mr. Goldsmith that we received?
I have not received that email, but if someone,
Holly will
if
take
I
care
could
of
get
that.
it
Yeah.
forwarded, yeah.
Please do. Thank you.
Sure.
That's all I have.
My question's been answered. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, town treasurer's report. Here, let me, I have something I want to share with the council here. Let me give you Give you. Mhm. Now we got to get 3 over there. Got mine, Greg? I said to your colleagues. I just wanted to follow up on last week's meeting. I tell you, one of the joys that I have is when I get a call or 2 or 3 or 4 from somebody in the public that wants to take the time just to tell me what a talented staff I have. And I was fortunate last week I was able to receive those calls about our town treasurer, and she did a really great job last meeting, and I do applaud her for that. But I wanted to go ahead and make some points to my colleagues up here about our enterprise funds and reserve accounting. As we know, I had several meetings with the council and staff over the course of the last 3 months or so related to the adoption of the FY24 budget. And I want to clarify a few points from our last meetings. The FY24 utility fund, as passed, uses 86% of the revenue from user fees. As amended, now before the council, it's one that uses 73% of the revenue from user fees. So it's dropped. The balance of revenue is from the general fund through a forgiven loan made through the ARPA funds. I want to make it clear that there are 3 major challenges that we face, the town council and I. General taxpayer funds supporting enterprise funds where user fees should cover user costs. I think we all know that. A longstanding overstatement of revenue projections to balance budgets by using a one-time capital connection fees for operating revenue rather than setting the funds aside in reserves for infrastructure repairs. That's going to be an issue. And the reliance of reserves for operating expenses. These are challenges moving forward. This is important to our residents because the general taxpayers should not cover the cost for utility users. Further, prior administration's longstanding efforts to balance the utility fund by inflating projections of future development only lead the town reliant on high-density projects that town citizens do not want. In all fairness, I've been a part of prior administrations as a council person. Town staff provided clear information as to the status of reserve funding during the budgeting process and identified that reserve funding within the utility fund was not sufficient. Town staff worked hard to provide solutions that reduce the liability to the general taxpayer and establish practices to ensure adequate reserve allocation is available. And I applaud them for their professionalism. Next, the mayor and town council adopted a sewer fixed fee that was 50% of the staff recommended fee. I want to recognize that prior to this decision made by the 7 of us, town council, town staff should have been provided with the opportunity to once again address the town council to explain more the impact of such a change. They should have. We made an 11th hour adjustment with the idea of lowering the impact on our citizens. And but I certainly take 100% full responsibility for this last minute change without staff having a chance to react. We have some challenging decisions ahead of us, but that's why we were elected. These decisions are not made and will not be made without detailed analysis and preparation from our professional staff, detailed analysis and recommendations that we cannot overlook or ignore. Brittany, I don't know if you want to add to that or just see if the council wants to ask you any questions on that. You can.
Questions, if any.
Mr. Fett.
I'm just going to follow. I'm going to follow up just for 1 second on what the mayor said. And I said this in the work session. I want to remind folks of this. We, like many jurisdictions, went through a tough time with COVID, and we made very conscious decisions to ease that challenge, to make sure that we weren't charging folks who maybe lost their jobs or were down on revenue that they would normally have because of the impact of the pandemic. We are trying to balance how we get back to par from those decisions that we made. I think they were good decisions, and I think we're doing a good job at moving one step at a time. There's always going to be a balance. There's always going to be a little push and pull. And maybe I'll wrap up by saying that I encourage people to look at both sides of any of those kinds of discussions, whether it's user fees or cost of water, cost of the water park, any case where we've been living a little bit on borrowed time through COVID. Any decision about fees is not taken lightly, and certainly not done with malice. So it's done with the best effort. And yeah, I'll stop there. I could go on a little more, but I think I'll stop there. But I appreciate the effort.
Thank you.
Brittany, just a quick clarification question on the first page under the ARPA funds reporting, the second bullet, 1,975,000 of the 5,943,337 awarded funds have been approved and allocated to general fund. If I'm reading that correctly, that tells me we've got just shy of $4 million left of our ARPA funds we have not allocated. Is that correct?
Yes, there were projects that we had discussed last time that were discussed and have intentions, but physically awarded is yes.
Okay. And it's my understanding since, and again, we always have this problem of using that term ARPA funds because as a technicality, we have used the ARPA funds. These are funds in our budget that were offset by paying for things using the actual ARPA money. Is that a correct statement?
That's correct. It's reimbursed to the general
Right.
fund.
So while we keep saying ARPA funds, we don't have the time limitation that true ARPA funds have. We have no time limitation on using the rest of that money, correct?
Correct.
So I have-
That's the reason we did it.
Yeah, I understand. I
Yeah,
just want to
yeah,
make sure everyone else
It was
understands
a good
that.
decision. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I one quick follow-up from
Please do.
really from what Larry said and just building on what I said earlier? There's a reason that the federal government issued ARPA funds. And it's directly to the point that I made earlier about the challenges of working through these budget points. Just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
We are commenting on the treasurer's report, not just on the
Anything you
comments.
want to comment on?
Okay. Per your comments, Mr. Mayor, and I think you're spot on with not all of this. You know, the last paragraph that you had, the last thing, the detailed analysis and recommendations that we cannot overlook or ignore, and we're not. You know, we certainly need to ask probing questions of them, not just well, we need to ask probing questions of all of our problems, not just the most challenging ones. That's what I'm trying to say. And again, I've been watching some of this for a couple decades, and the deficiencies with the utility fund are 20 plus years in the making, in my opinion. I'm just not going to lay all of them at COVID or at the feet of this administration for certain. Regarding your report, Brittany, good evening. This is one of those things we have to ask. I know the water park is not open yet. The reserves report that we were apprised of last work session was certainly quite alarming. We understand and agree up here. I think I would say, I believe it's unanimous that these enterprise funds, such as the water park, need to be self-sufficient. That's very important. That being said, we've all experienced quite a bit of pushback from the rates and the model that we have. And just going to put this out here, that genie is not out of the bottle yet. The water park is not open. I'm suggesting, just in an abundance of due diligence, that we reevaluate our cap on the model that we used to establish those rates. It's my understanding that it was based on 500 people there, and we know that the capacity is 1,300, which we carried that for a long time there, and we got a lot of pushback from local residents that used that were uncomfortable with that rating, that number of folks in there, whether they're from in town or out of town, making it for a very uncomfortable experience in a lot of people's opinions. So that's one reason why we've reduced that number. We're looking for a balance there of not just for town residents, but any guests, any visitors to the town that may want to go to the water park, that it's helping to raise that experience level for them. So it's not so jam-packed as it has been in years. So I'm suggesting out of an abundance of due diligence that, our town hall take a look at recasting that model with a 750 person cap and see where those rates fall. If it's significantly south of what we have established, and we've worked so hard, those were difficult discussions. And I remember the mayor specifically speaking to that during the work sessions, which I encourage everybody to take a look at. If you've got questions about some of these items, I think that's due diligence. And if that shows that, those rates can significantly come down, I don't think the genie's out of the bottle yet. I know we're selling tickets. We can certainly adjust some of that and issue if I don't know if it's how big an if that is, but moving forward this year, because there's those are very difficult thresholds to cross for any average person. So, and I wanted to talk about the what is a deficit in the utility fund. We had through the hard work here at Town Hall and in making the utility fund the enterprise fund. That utility fund, I've felt strongly for 2 decades needs to, since I've been paying attention and learning more about it, I'd say about 14 years, needs to be self-sufficient, needs to more or less. It's not exact science with that stuff. And there's going to be a little plus and minus no matter how good we are with this stuff. In order to meet the projection of what the balance is there are some additional increases required to the water sewer rates. That seems to still be on the horizon. I know nobody wants to talk about that, but in order to make that balanced, that's going to be needed. In years gone by, I've personally felt that the utility fund has been intentional is a very strong word, but those rates have been artificially suppressed, and everybody's enjoyed those rates. I've enjoyed by far and large, the cheapest water in the state probably for a long time. And as those rates have crept up, we are still far below thresholds around here and folks that are paying. And even if we went all the way to what we felt was balanced, a rate that would be balanced, those rates would still be less than joining jurisdictions and what they're paying for water and sewer service. I just wanted to mention that. I think that's important because taking money from the general fund to offset deficits and those type of funds is poor accounting. That is, to say the least. So back to the mayor's comments, I think he's spot on with a lot of that stuff. We'll continue to work hard moving forward to support our treasurer and what she sees there. I'm still not buying into the sudden need of requirements for the reserves across the board. That is just so kind of such a large thing. But we're following and we're trusting our professionalism here to help guide us through these problems. So thank you, Brittany, for your hard work. I know you haven't been on the job here in town very long, but I appreciate the frankness in your reports here. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your comments at the beginning there. I don't have a lot of additional comments. We discussed the budget at our work session pretty thoroughly, and I know there's work to be done and there's lots of things to talk about going forward. And I think there are some, possibilities here to get past this. So anyway, thank you. Adam?
Hey, Brittany, just have one question on section 2, the reserve deficits. So Are you beginning the season now of looking at those and working with town staff to try to build money back into them? Is that our next plan here for that?
You mean for the current year that we're in?
No, it's not gonna happen this year. But how are we gonna build those reserves back up?
Yes, that will be coming.
That's
forward. As we're closing out the current fiscal year, so we can kind of get a better idea of where we are.
And then our next steps will be looking at ways to repair that, right? Right, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, would you entertain a question for the gallery and the treasurer's report, please?
I'm sorry, sir, there's the public comment period. The first one's over and the next one will be at the end of the meeting. That's a kind no. Yes, sir. Okay. Town engineers report. If we have any questions of Wayne, I'll start with Councilwoman Hartman.
Hey, Wayne. Thank you for the report. I'm looking at the 261 sidewalks, or you have a 30% design cost estimate. Do you have now a general cost estimate for the whole project?
Yeah, so that is a cost estimate for the project from Beach Elementary School to the south end of town. We updated that cost estimate to bring them current to 2023 numbers, Peggy, for the state as part of that RFP process.
Right. And what is the cost? Do you know?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
What is the cost?
Is it for the Safe Routes to School project, the 200,000? 200,000 is the estimated cost.
200,000?
80% covered by the state, 20% covered by the town.
Thank you. That was my only question. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
Thanks for the report. No additional questions. Most of mine have been answered during the other reports, so thank you.
Wayne, good evening. Welcome virtually. I know you're normally here in person. It's always good to have you in the gallery here. The old Bayside Water Tower, I see you have performed, or it says performing intermittent settlement analysis of the tower footing. That's a little alarming there. What prompted that examination?
There was some concern in one of the safety inspections that the tower may be settling due to some the appearance of some of the foundations and footings. So we have been doing periodic monitoring of those footings and checking elevations to confirm they are or are not settling. As of this time, we don't see any issues.
Okay, do those concerns apply to any other water towers, similar structures owned by the town?
Yeah, as the required safety inspections occur, if concerns are seen, we will do the monitoring of those as well. But we've checked those regularly, don't see any concerns there at all.
Thank you. No further questions.
My questions have been answered in other reports and earlier tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, a couple quick follow-ups. It actually may be worth a discussion, which we could have offline, about shifting the order and having the engineer's report immediately follow the administrator's report, because there's so much overlap in those. I want to clarify something that Councilwoman Hartman said, make sure I understand as well, Wayne, and make sure that the public understands this. The $200,000 number that you quoted is the price for the 100% design. That has nothing to do with putting shovels in the ground on that project. And
that's correct.
Yeah, and realistically, the pace there, I know we've heard feedback about the pace. We are doing everything we can. This town is 100% committed to moving this project forward as quickly as possible, but it is a slow process, and a lot of the hangups are with the state. You don't need to reiterate it, Wayne. I'm more saying that for the benefit of communicating out conversations that we've had internally.
Well, you're right, Charlie, and I'll even commend Holly the day after the state asks for information, she sends it. So it's really not waiting on us.
Thank you. And then the last question I have is on the pocket parks. So these are out for bid. Holly had said, we think we can get started very soon. So we're waiting for those bids to come back. Do we have any idea, any preliminary, like, do we have 10 people lining up to bid on this? Do we know yet, or what?
Answer that. I actually have not released the bid yet,
Okay.
but I will be releasing it tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we would expect to have the proposals before town council in the next month.
In the next month,
Yes.
is what you said that. Okay, thank you. Thank you both.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Next, the deputy's report. We've read Sergeant Schroeder's report. I'll stay right there with Mr. Fink. Short timer up there. Do we have any questions of the?
I am very sorry that you are. I'm very happy for you that you are moving to what is clearly a good new post, but we're certainly sorry to lose you. I know we've had a number of conversations have been, I feel, been very, very productive and fun. And I don't have any real questions on your report. I hate to make light at all of this report, but I am shocked that there are a slew of eggings happening given the price of eggs.
Yes.
Beyond that, stay safe and thank you for your
We were looking
service.
for a Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
Similarly, I
I
have
beat
no-
you to that one.
Yeah, I can't follow it. Congratulations and stay safe. Thank you.
Yes, we're all very happy for you. It seems like, and I go back to when Jan was sitting up here on council. We get the best sergeants and lieutenants, men and women. We just get so lucky. I don't know how that happens, but so we're thankful that we had you, and we certainly are. If you can pick the new guy or gal for us, that might. Thank you, sir. Yep.
Yeah, I certainly echo all of those sentiments. Commend you on moving on to a new post, and really, the only thing I'd like to do, I felt it was the best moment for this passed this earlier in this meeting this evening, but I think this council here, I'm asking this entire gallery, I know that they're required to give this gentleman a standing ovation, please.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What else can I say? Congratulations on your promotion, and we're going to miss you here in the beaches.
Thank you.
Likewise. Take care.
It's been a pleasure.
Before you leave, I think, as we pull out of the pandemic, I think it's easy to, forget the, law enforcement, first responders, all those who served us and kept us safe during the pandemic. I mean, it was 3 years, guy, and I mean, you probably saw the, more nastier side of than you normally can, but you did keep us safe. So I'm glad that Councilman Morris initiated that standing applause and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. North Beach Volunteer Fire Department. If we have any, did you want to say something there, sir? Okay.
May, mentioned earlier about the passing of our president, Mad Dog. We don't have a schedule yet for any kind of a remembrance for him. I will share that when we work that out with his family. And I might be stealing this from the mayor's report.
Okay, I'll just repeat it again.
Fishing Creek Bridge.
I got
Okay,
that.
I'll just go over real quick. There will be a dedication of the Fishing Creek Bridge. We're calling it a renaming and a dedication. It's going to be renamed the Fallen Heroes Bridge in honor of what we call LODD, line of duty deaths, of two of our members. Larry Cox passed away on duty April 7th, 1970, and Pat Osborne, who passed away May 26, 2018. So it will be named Fallen Heroes Bridge and dedicated to Mayor Gerald Wesley Donovan. That ceremony will happen next Thursday, week from today, May 25th at 10 a.m. If you're interested in joining us, we're going to meet on the grassy area in front of the PMC Bank. Thank you.
Thank you. Which way am I going here? Did you talk? Oh, okay. Anybody else there?
Larry, I don't know if I heard it, read it, or dreamt it, but was the fire department considering initiating fees for non-emergency calls?
Actually, the county
The county?
is doing that, and it's for EMS calls. I forget the date, but it's very soon. And my understanding of how that's going to work is there will be a fee for EMS calls. If the person's insurance covers it, great. If they don't, my understanding is we are not going to pursue payment of that.
Okay, thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Mayor's report. This morning, I attended an event for Senator Michael Jackson, who gave me the opportunity to chat with Senator Guzoni, who is the chair of the powerful Senate Budget and Taxation Committee. Senator Jackson also serves on this committee. This committee has been very good to Chesapeake Beach. So, just recently, this committee and our new governor were able to squeeze $600,000 for the town. So we're doing well there. And I want to say that it was just great to have a one-on-one chat with, the chairman of the budget committee, so we can keep our little town on the radar up there in State Circle. So it was a good day. As Larry mentioned, next Thursday, May 25th at 10 o'clock over by PMC Bank is the unveiling ceremony for Fallen Heroes Bridge, dedicated to Mayor Gerald Donovan. As most of us know, Mayor Donovan served here in the middle seat for 24 years. Past president of North Beach Volunteer Fire Department and Marine Corps veteran. Please note, as Larry said, that the new time is 10 a.m., not 11 a.m., and stop by if you can. Saturday, Memorial Day weekend, we have a 10 a.m. Ceremony. Then we have at Veterans Park. Then we have Family Fun Night at the water park from 6:30 till 8:30, free for town residents. And lastly, for Memorial Day, let us remember all our heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice while fighting for our country. Next, vote on ordinance O-23-11. The ordinance of the Town Council, Chesapeake Beach, amending the adopted general fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to transfer funds in the amount of $550,000 from unspent reimbursement ARPA funds expenditure line item to transfer out utility fund. Expenditure line item for usage of ARPA funds to offset the utility fund budgeted expenses. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Vote on ordinance O-23-12. An ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach amending the adopted water reclamation treatment plant fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year from July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to adjust anticipated contributions to revenue from third parties to offset decrease in utility costs as a result of an amended utility fund rate schedule. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Vote on ordinance O-23-13. An ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach amending the adopted general fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 22 to June 30 of 23 to recognize uncollectible debt expense related to forgiven general fund loan to the utility fund for capital projects in the amount of $1,600,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And almost lastly, vote on ordinance O-23-14. An ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach amending the adopted utility fund budget for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year from July 1 of 22 to June 30 of 23 to recognize restricted loan proceeds from the forgiven general fund loan to the utility fund for capital projects in the amount of $1,600,000.
Move to approve.
Second. Yeah, we're going to do a redo on the other one, but okay, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. Give me 1 second. Thank you. I'm going to finish up, then we'll go back. Okay. So E, Vote on ordinance O-23-15, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the adopted utility fund for the Town of Chesapeake Beach from fiscal year July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to reallocate revenue funds with a net increase of $350,000 offset by an increase in capital project expense line item in the amount of $350,000 for usage of forgiven loan proceeds restricted for capital expenses.
So
Motion
moved.
to approve?
Second.
Move.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And I'm going to go back to the first one. Go through the whole thing. Okay, we're gonna go over O-23-11 again. And there'll be a amendment after we get a second from the council vice president. So, vote on ordinance O-23-11, an ordinance of the Town Council of Chesapeake Beach, amending the adopted general fund budget for the Town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year July 1 of 23 to June 30 of 24 to transfer funds in the amount of $550,000 from the unspent reimbursement ARPA funds expenditure line item to transfer out utility fund expenditure line item for usage of ARPA funds to offset utility fund budget expenses. Is there a motion to approve in a second? Moved. And I have an amendment from,
Yes.
we'll clean up here.
Okay, I have this right. Proposing amendments to the FY24 general fund budget as follows. Amend federal grants revenue line item from $3,862,563 to $2,435,527. Second amendment, transfer in general fund balance revenue line item from $2,080,775 to $1,907,811. Third amendment is transfer out to utility fund expense line item from $550,000 to $0. And finally, amend unspent reimbursement ARPA funds expense line item from $5,393,338 to $4,343,338.
Okay, is there a motion to approve these four amendments?
I mean, I'd like to have the discussion about it.
Well, we have
I'm
to have-
willing to,
well, we have to have
I'm willing.
a second. We have to have a second before we can initiate the.
I'll move
the
to
reason-
approve just
second.
to have the
Okay,
discussion.
we have,
Yeah.
on the four amendments, we have a motion and we have a second. I'll let staff explain the amendments that were required. You got that, Britt? And if I can help for everybody there, in order to, when we received the ARPA funds, okay, we did something really smart, was we used it immediately with our law enforcement and, fire department, money. And that meant that we didn't, by doing that, we don't have a time frame anymore. And that's good. So the government's happy because we tell them we accounted for it. It's parked in the general fund, which was the way to do it with that money. So in order to us to legally use it for an infrastructure project in the utility fund, we have to borrow it from the general fund. And in order to just borrow it and get it, we also have to forgive that loan. It's just the legal way of us doing what we intended to do all along, which is basically use our ARPA money for infrastructure projects. And this, in particular, was the purpose of this was to basically keep our sewer rates, lower than it would have been, quite frankly. So I think we all remember that. We have an amendment. We have a second. All in favor of I'm sorry. I apologize.
Easy to do. Was anybody else? You want to start
We'll let
somewhere?
you go.
Okay, yes, thank you. I was just wondering why this ordinance wasn't drafted with that language out of the gate. That's all. Is it just an oversight? I am not.
I mean, the first thing is that we, at the last minute, we decided to borrow that money from the ARPA funds.
Saying during the work session, maybe we talked about this.
No, we made an 11th hour change, and that meant, at the time, we thought we could just grab it. But legally, we have to actually borrow it from the general fund. It was all
Okay.
parked there, and that was the way to do it.
Is the councilwoman?
We went over this.
Okay, and I apologize. I just
Yeah.
want to be clear. I just didn't understand why, that
Yeah,
was
we
then,
went-
this is now, and this
we
is
went
what was
over it all,
prevented for
yeah.
us, and now we're making all these changes tonight. And okay, there on the surface. And the councilwoman, I guess she been apprised of the change that we're looking at there. I mean, I know she's not here tonight, but
Got everything in front of her.
yeah, okay. Okay, no further questions.
Okay, there's a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor of the amendments made by Vice President Jaworski, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we have an amended ordinance O-23-11. We do have a motion to approve and a second. So the vote will be to approve the amended ordinance O-23-11. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any ayes have it. And like I said, that was a little bit of, cleanup that we had to do. So we move along here. Okay, I don't have no report from Planning and Zoning, Board of Appeals. As we said, a hearing was held April the 25th. We did get a report from CBOX, I guess. I don't see Sue here. Climate change, Larry?
Yes.
Thank you, Greg.
We do have a report from planning and zoning. If there's any.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, I don't. I'm just.
Oh,
saying
yeah,
for the record,
yeah.
If anyone has.
Yeah, yeah.
Climate Change Advisory Group, and Sharon, I will share these. Sharon, I will share these with you. Climate Change Advisory Group. As discussed in the Town Administrator's Report, the Coastal Resiliency Steering Committee, chaired by Jeff Foltz, met on Thursday, May 11th. Committee discussed the first chapter of the town's Coastal Resiliency Plan. This chapter covers the need and basis for the Coastal Resiliency Plan. Town Planner Chris Jakubiak led the discussion. Next meeting of the steering committee will be scheduled soon and posted on the town website. Coastal Resiliency Work Group plans to schedule a meeting in advance of the next steering committee meeting. Another item also mentioned in the Town Administrator Report, the town will participate in the next meeting of the US EPA-sponsored Climate and Flood Resilience Workshop, scheduled for Friday, May 31st. Our town will join the towns of Cambridge and Crisfield in this meeting. Workshop continues to work on EPA's Climate Resilience and Awareness Tool, CREATE. I participated in a workshop on May 2nd, sponsored by the Association of Climate Change Officials, officers for members who hold the Certified Climate Change Professional credentials. I just wanted to thank Co-Chair Keith for compliments given to me at the last council meeting. And Co-Chair Keith, anything to add?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We stay right there, EDC.
Economic Development represented our town in County Business Appreciation Week and County Tourism Proclamation. The Tourism Proclamation was given Tuesday, May 9th at the County Commissioners meeting. Business Appreciation meeting that same day, followed by visits to local businesses. My team visited Butterflies and Wishes, Tea and Sweets, and Chesapeake Wind Sail Cruises here in our town, and the Wheelhouse Beer Garden in North Beach. The County Economic Development Advisory Commission meeting on May 10th. Meeting was held at the Rod and Reel, and we were treated to a tour of the new addition. As many know, the historic Rod and Reel restaurant closed on Mother's Day after a long history of serving our town since 1946. The old restaurant will be demolished and replaced by a new restaurant and additional hotel rooms above. The new addition will open soon and will include the other addition, which has been under construction already, is scheduled to open soon. It will include a new barbecue restaurant called CBQ. Stay tuned.
EBQ?
CBQ.
You said barbecue restaurant?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been getting asked that a lot.
I also attended a meeting of the County Tourism Roundtable that includes many of our town and county businesses. Mission of the roundtable is to promote tourism throughout our town and county and support our local businesses. Finally, a study is underway about the possible feasibility of a bay passenger ferry. The two locations in Calvert County included in the study are our town of Chesapeake Beach and Solomons. Stay tuned for further developments on that. Thank you, Co-Chair Greg, for your kind comments on my service at the last council meeting and any additional comments offered.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Certainly appreciate your volunteerism on the county level. And certainly all ears, you've served on the county EDC for so long now, any lessons learned at the county level that can help us here in town. We're definitely, looking at that. I wanted to mention that I know that through Councilman Jaworski, who is the chair at the Economic Development Committee, has outreach to the newly minted or reformed, possibly, business coalition here in town. Have we heard back from them?
Not heard.
Yeah. Would like to get together with them, talk about how we can find some common ground and help things out. I know there have been some decisions made that have impacted our hospitality businesses here in town, and it's important that we examine what avenues there are to help them there. And on that, I did want to mention that, and I know it's unpopular with several of my colleagues, but I've mentioned it before, that possibly we could take a look at providing, for the time being, possibly through the election at least, the next cycle, some passes that patrons of the hotel could use to be able to utilize and visit Bayfront Park, just as trying to find a little common ground here. I know that, again, it's not popular with some of my colleagues, but it's still worthwhile talking about that. So, maybe we can take a look at that at some point. Thank you.
Thank you. Green Team, we did receive Councilwoman Bodine's report. Kellam's Revitalization Committee, Mr. Morris.
Yeah, as I stated earlier, Councilman Fink had pointed out that there's a lot of various reports, have little bits and pieces, things that are happening in and around Kellam's there. It's my understanding that the Kellam's Revitalization Committee, if you will, the last meeting that we had was almost 2 years ago. I know it sounds a little nuts. I've deliberately not tried to hold another meeting until there's something substantial to talk about there. And we do have stuff substantial to talk about, I feel, with the development of the plan. Wayne is online here. I know there's been a lot of other important issues here that have kind of maybe jumped ahead of that. But I think that, I'd like to press again for a council and public presentation of the progress in the development there. I think it's stuff to be excited about. I had met with some of the Bucks leadership recently, and despite the difficult resetting at the baseline, if you will, with some of the financial issues looking backwards, I know looking forwards, we're all very optimistic. There's still some trepidation there, but maybe that can. I do know that it's the intention of the administration here to have a spot for a Bucks report out in the future here. So maybe it'd be a completely appropriate time to give an update on where we are with that plan there, which I'm still calling a draft blush plan, to coincide with the Bucks there. One thing that I did emphasize with the leadership there was that area in there is in transformation. It certainly has been a focus on the Bucks organization there and some exclusivity there. There's some things that have transpired and we're coming to realization here in Town Hall since I don't know how large a parcel it was, but the county transferring the balance of that property to the town. And I completely understand our administration's trying to make that to the benefit of the taxpayers here in town, because taxpayers are now fully funding that. But we can't limit the use of that space to just folks and their children that live in the town. Obviously, and not even just the Twin Beach area. And this is a little towards the county here. The county was overseeing all of these organizations not that long ago, and with the town assuming 100% proprietorship, and that's probably not the right word. We've taken it very seriously, that oversight there. Now, maybe we've been a little over exacting on some things, and I don't mean to understate anybody's feelings that have been expressed this evening, but serving the county now and the costs that come along with that, it seems that there is a step ahead of us that we need to enter into a discussion with the county on maybe sharing some of the costs, because again, the county needs this space up here for youth sports organization. There's no question about that. That's the intended spirit and maybe legal definition there too in public service. I think that may be in the transfer agreement there. That I had former Commissioner McConkey had looked into that for me about a year ago, because I've been following along with some of this. And of course, he's now, he was beat out. The voters elected Ms. Grasso there. So, having some discussions with the county there could start with the new representative there. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm rambling on there, but these are some things that we've just kind of come into realization here. And in part because of the push and the pull here with dealing with these problems. I don't want to past problems with some of the accounting issues. Again, the oversight here, our administration is charged with being responsible for the taxpayers there. But we need to think about the costs in keeping all of that and using it for a county magnet for school, for children there. And I think the bottom line in a lot of this for me is we are serving the youth there with these youth organizations. And I'm looking forward to strengthening a weakened partnership there, but along with advancing uses for that area over there. That we've got some great draft plans here that I'm very anxious to talk to the public about, and council colleagues here that maybe have not seen that. So it's probably enough on that. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Before I get to Keith with the Twin Beaches opioid abuse, I guess one of the things I didn't mention in my initial, remarks was you mentioned a monthly report out from the Beach Buccaneers, and Jamie, I want to thank you. I think it was your idea when we met earlier in the week, and when we were discussing how the citizens of Chesapeake Beach are going to commit to spending $1 million the next couple of years at Kelms Field. We anticipate and are planning for $3 million in the future as we address sea level rise. So the idea was that with the community making that sort of a financial investment, that it would be win-win if as we have other people report out, like the volunteer fire department, that the Buccaneers can come once a month or however often you want to send a representative, or just issue a report, and that's fine. That way everybody's on the same page, and if there is an issue, we can just make sure it gets resolved before it gets any further. So that was a great idea, and yes, that's what we plan on doing.
If you will, I promise it's very brief. I did overlook something here. Mm-hmm. I did see in the packet, and you just mentioned it, I think, that we're looking at spending $3 million in the Kelms area for coastal resiliency. I don't know if I recall discussing that before. I'm not saying it's not needed. I know that resiliency is the perfect word for that. Where's that coming from?
Well,
coastal resiliency?
We had discussed it along the lines of the ARPA project funding, and that would be very long-term, depending on sea level rise and flooding. But we would project that that would be needed just to keep the field and that whole area dry.
$3 million.
And, you know, quite frankly, we have really very good friends up in the Annapolis and DC, meaning state and federal, to go for that. Very good friends.
Okay, well, following along, thank you.
Yeah, who support us there. So,
I'm sorry, Councilman Fink, please.
I have nothing to add on that. Thank you.
you're very good. Keith?
Right, the Twin Beach Opioid Abuse Awareness Coalition met on May 4th, had a meeting over at the Northeast Community Center, 6 o'clock. And, you know, basically we discussed the sculpture project that we have going on. We're still waiting to hear on our grant proposal that we sent up to the state. And again, this is to have a sculpture project recognizing the folks who have suffered from the opioid epidemic and their families who have suffered through that and those that continue to suffer. So it's an art installation, sculpture project that we are putting a call out for artists to provide a sculpture, and there will be a committee, a selection committee to review the folks who submit sculpture ideas. And then a decision will be made, and that will be installed at the Mark Fraser Sunrise Garden in North Beach here from August 1st. We're hoping to announce the artist and the sculpture that is selected on August 31st, excuse me, August 31st of this year, and then have the sculpture prepared and ready to put on the installation in 2024. So again, we're just waiting to hear on that. We should be hearing June 9th on whether or not we did get that grant to proceed. We have a backup plan if we don't, so we think we're still going to move forward on that. Some of the other things that we talked about were revitalizing our website, getting new information and redesigning it a bit. Also creating a brochure for the organization to give out as well. And we're going to start May 27th doing an outreach over at the farmers market, where our partners from CASA and the Calvert County Health Department and our coalition will be out there to provide information about prevention and treatment of overdose and addiction there. And so the first one's going to be the 27th of May, and then another in June, another in July, and then another in August. And that, I think, pretty much sums it up for now. Our next meeting is going to be on June 8th from 6 to 7 p.m. over at the Northeast Community Center. And so we're always looking for additional members to help us move forward with some of our activities. So if you are interested, please let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. And next we have Walkable Community Advisory Group. Before I go to new Councilwoman Peggy Hartman, new Chairwoman, I'm sorry. I want to thank Councilman Fink for his a long time, chairing this group. And, as we say with all of our volunteers, and I really want to thank you for staying on. So thank you, sir. And ma'am.
Riley, did you want to make comments?
I'll follow up when you're done.
Okay, thank you. All righty, well, we had a lively meeting on Monday, and Councilman Morris, I understand you're waiting for meetings and waiting for information, and I'm lucky to say in the walkable community, we've had a number of projects that have moved along past their very early stages. So while they are getting ready to have more work done proactively on them, we've decided to start looking at new projects that we can put in the hopper. Not really new. They all come from the study that was done a couple of years ago. So we're starting to dust off some of those. We are looking deeper into those to see about enhancing and changing the crosswalks for 261, 260. And Holly, I know you're going to have that meeting with the SHA. Would there be would there be an opportunity there to talk about design potential? Because we had talked about it in our committee, different things we'd like to see in some of those crosswalks, the big major ones crossing 260,
I think that would be an
261.
excellent opportunity.
Okay, then maybe we can talk later about timing, so I can send those to you. That'd be great. And we're going to resume regular meetings every 4 to 6 weeks, probably on Mondays. They seem to fit everybody. And I was wondering, Holly, if we could get the RFPs to share with the Walkville community, that'd be fantastic. Right?
Very good.
That's all from our group.
Thank you. Mr. Fink?
Yeah, a couple quick follow-ups. First of all, thank you for your kind words, Mr. Mayor. And, I served, have been on this committee since its inception, and really enjoyed the work that we've done. I think we've done some really good things. I do plan to stay on the committee to really to work as a liaison so that Councilwoman Hartman can move some new projects forward, but really serve as a liaison with the work that we're doing with Holly and Jay, as you guys hear, month after month, to keep these projects moving with the state and other interested parties. So I do appreciate that. I want to make one closing comment on that. I will keep this brief. When this committee started in 2016, it was part, I believe, and tell me if I misstate this, it was part of what Mayor Mahoney did to create these sort of volunteer committees, and there's a bunch of them now. And what strikes me right now tonight is the amount of overlap among these committees, and I think that's pretty neat. And I think it partly represents the fact that all of these different committees have gone from zero to real activity, real projects, and those projects start to bump into each other. And I mean that in a positive way. But you can't talk about walkability and not talk about Kellums Field. It's the biggest green space in the town. You can't talk about economic development and not talk about walkability, people having a place to walk to, bringing that kind of thing into town. The green team is doing plantings, all part of some of the initial work at Kellums Field, all relevant to walkability. So I think all of these committees are working together, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with Councilman Morris and Councilman Hartman. I think Peggy will bring great energy to the committee moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No unfinished business. New business. Town Council to consider authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with GTH Masonry for $28,890 to make emergency repairs to the overhang at the treatment plant solids handling building. Costs will be paid from the FY23 treatment plant capital improvements line item with a budget amendment forthcoming. Cost will be shared by our partners. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any ayes have it. Town Council to consider authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract from Miller Energy in the amount of $12,850 for the installation of clarifier blanket sensors. Costs will be paid from the FY23 treatment plant capital improvement line item and will be shared with the treatment plant partners. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You guys have it. Town Council to consider authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Windmill Farms in the amount of $18,350 to power wash stainless steel, replace the remaining deteriorated lumbar, and install a weather and splinter-proof top cap on the Route 261 boardwalk. Costs will be incurred in the FY23 general fund capital improvement line item for sidewalk repairs. Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. And lastly, Town Council to consider authorizing the town administrator to purchase the materials needed to make the repairs to the Route 261 boardwalk from Barron's in the amount of $21,617.53. Cost to be incurred in the FY23 general fund capital improvement line item for sidewalk repairs. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the ayes have it. You weren't talking to me, you were talking to somebody else.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, very good. Okay, next, youth sports agreement, third party audit. We have a brief slideshow for the good citizens of this town. You want to?
So first, just to start off, the purpose of this presentation is not to move backwards. The purpose of this presentation is to ensure that we do not move backwards. And so it is really a coordinated effort. In fact, my memo that is in the public packet and my presentation was provided to the Beach Bucks leadership prior to this evening. And I received comments and actually even integrated some changes based on that. So I just want to recognize that what you have before you has been provided to the Bucks leadership as we start going through the slides. So in my memo, I've provided more detail. The purpose of the presentation is to just touch on very high level points of the Kellums complex and to answer questions that have been out there in the public in terms of why an audit was conducted, what the youth sports agreement is, why we have the youth sports agreement. And so I'm just going to touch on some of those key points. So Kellums Field is owned by the town of Chesapeake Beach. We've talked about that a lot tonight. We were in an agreement with Calvert County where the town of Chesapeake Beach provided all of the maintenance for the field and the county would schedule it and the town would basically just approve it. So we've always been very involved in Kellums Field and the town has always been very invested in Kellums Field. The youth sports agreement authorizes nonprofit entities to free access to the field. And it requires financial transparency of nonprofits utilizing the field as it receives significant public funding, which we've spoke about as well this evening. So the Beach Buccaneers Youth Club is the only team authorized to utilize the field through the executed youth sports agreement, and that is executed annually. We've talked about the cost towards the field, and obviously town council is very invested in ensuring that continues and very invested that the youth program continues in town.
Sorry, this is not being shown to the audience online. They can't see the slides.
So some of the questions that have come up as well is, okay, a portion of what's been asked as well is the youth sports agreement does specify a goal of town resident participation, and that is through the program itself, and it is as well through director membership. We like to know what the membership is, and that is really an effort to make sure that we're doing everything we can to increase our youth access to programs, as well as increase membership on boards for town citizens. And so that has also been discussed with the leadership in terms of the town sharing information when there's openings on boards to just make sure we're coordinating along those efforts. So just a snapshot of where we are currently, and this is just based on the current program of flag football, which obviously changes with different seasons, but we have 28% of the youth as town residents, and the remaining basically northern Calvert area, so primarily Huntingtown, Prince Frederick, Dunkirk, and Owings. So serving a great benefit for recreation for the entire county. And we have approximately 9% of the members of the board are town citizens. So why was an audit initiated? So per the youth sports agreement, the town is able to review all financial records of the team. And so the town had requested this information as part of the youth sports agreement and was not provided with financial information that was not altered. So that prompted the town to conduct the third-party audit, which was paid for at the town's expense in accordance with the agreement. There's also the requirement, as I've stated, to be a nonprofit, and the team's nonprofit status had lapsed and was no longer active. In addition,
Please, so you'll have
in addition,
time to comment.
the team had not filed their tax returns for multiple years. So just a timeline of the audit, a timeline of the audit, and this is just purely statement of fact. The audit was executed or started in March of 2022. It continued on for approximately 8 months seeking information. There was a small percentage of samples of disbursements collected, about 20%, So out of the 101 disbursements, $94,723 were either missing documentation or provided insufficient documentation to support the transaction. These expenses included cash withdrawals, checks, purchases. And so at that point, the town did notify the board of directors in January of 2023 that there were significant concerns related to the handling of funds and required immediate action. In February of 2023, a town resident and volunteer did step up and helped the team and provided multiple items of support. So we did receive additional support, and we were left with about $21,478, which remained unsupported or with insufficient documentation. So since this, as of March 2023, the town has been coordinating with the team under new leadership, seeking to understand the new processes that they had in place, and the main goal being no disruption to the children on the field. So there has been no times when children have wanted to use the field that they were not able to. The current status is that the town continues to work with Beach Buccaneers to ensure financial transparency in ways that make sense and limits administrative burden. This includes providing ease of access to information so that the town can view transactions and the needs of the team. So as the public can understand further the needs of the team, support will only increase. Further coordination is also underway, as the mayor had mentioned, to integrate the Beach Buccaneers into monthly report outs or, intermittent, not every month, but when they're able to do that, to provide reports to the public. And this can be provided for support for things like new helmet, new safety gear. We believe that those sponsorships will increase greatly when the citizens can understand where the expenses are needed and where the revenue is going. So again, there's been no interruption to children's activities, and town has used all measures necessary to keep the children on the field while we make these adjustments to ensure financial processes are accounted for. Both parties are coordinating on cash collection activities at the field. The town has limited cash collecting activities until we understand further the processes for handling them. But there's two reasons for that, really. The concession stand is entirely gutted right now, so it requires complete renovation. We expect it to cost $50,000 or slightly more, and so it is not open. It is currently closed. There are no cabinets or countertops in there to operate. So that's one reason why there's no concession happening right now.
This is a presentation, please. Nobody interrupts anybody in this room when they speak.
That's one reason why the concession is not operating right now. And then the second reason is that we're working through coordinating in accordance with the youth sports agreement, which outlines exactly what will happen for any cash sales at the field. So steps forward, teams using Kellums Field must provide information to show that it's 100% a public purpose. This means that the team should transparently report financial information to not just the town, but the general public. And youth sports programs are recognized as bringing a sense of community to the center of town that benefits everyone. It benefits our local businesses. It benefits the county. That's something the town remains committed to. And town administration looks forward to continued and expanded partnerships with youth sports programs while maintaining accountability to town citizens. So I just have one slide. So this is a summary of, we did have a meeting, as we spoke of, this week. And both parties really are joint and united in the fact that we do seek to benefit local youth and foster a positive environment for children and the community as a whole. And both are committed to transparency and acknowledge that the youth sports agreement provides the guidelines for that. And we also acknowledge that prior recordation of income expenses aren't acceptable, and that new practices have been determined and are being implemented by the team, and we'll continue to coordinate with the team on that. We also acknowledge that providing the town and the public with ongoing information related to revenue, expenses, and needs will only build more public support. Thank you.
Thank you. And before I go to Councilwoman Hartman for council comments on the slides, I just want to, make clear sometimes you have to put things into perspective. 9 of us were either elected or hired to be the town's stewards of the town's treasury. As I said earlier, we're talking about investing $1 million in the near future and another 3 in the, not so near future. That's $4 million. I think everybody would agree that if you take or use public money or public facilities, you must have accountability and fiscal transparency. And that is exactly what we needed to get, put forward to our citizens, people who are asking us, are you watching our money? So we say yes. Councilwoman?
In reflection on this, I see a lot of similarities between the Beach Bucks organization and the town staff, the town council, your government basically here in town. We both get money from other people. I mean, we don't really generate money ourselves. So we both get money from other people. And one of our responsibilities in town is also to provide clarity to the public about where your money's going that we take in terms of taxes. We do this with our financial planning, and you all have access to budget items and what's being discussed in town. Coming to the meetings, you can all hear what's being discussed for spend. And we do this through audits, because I don't think any of you would want to see the town go without audits, where a third party comes in and takes a look at what we are spending and make sure what we said we spent is actually what we spent. Because you can't think for a minute that you'd want the town to go for years without ever accounting for what we spent. It's a different size than the Bucks, of course, because you're a small organization. But I don't, the idea of fiscal responsibility and fiduciary clarity isn't new for charitable organizations, which is what you are. I mean, that's why you have so many volunteers doing so much work for you, because there is not a lot of extra money.
Please.
So I think that in addition, the idea of filing with the states and making sure you retain a good 501(c) will be also helpful for your sponsorships, because that means they can deduct it. Any business that gives you money can deduct it from their taxes as long as you're an approved charity. Any private people who give money to you to buy uniforms, helmets, food, they can deduct all of their goods, services, anything they give you in a very clear way. So that would be fantastic. And I'm looking forward to actually going to see a Bucks game, because I haven't been to one yet. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman?
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to sit in some of the discussions with Mr. Schulz and the mayor and our town administrator, and I was so pleased with how those discussions went and moving forward. So I was a little surprised when tonight to hear some of those. I even saw some of the emails going back and forth talking about what folks were going to say and agreeing to that. And I was like, wow, this is moving along. I really love this, how people are communicating well and doing this. So I was a little shocked tonight to hear some of the comments coming forth. And certainly, I don't think anyone is trying to cast shadow on the Bucks in terms of what they're doing. I think we all really want to move forward. I think the town, needs to, for our residents, just needs to be sure they understand why we're doing these things, and we want to continue for the Bucks to be playing on that field and for the kids to be able to do that. I have 2 kids. They didn't play football; they played soccer, but I know how important sports are to kids, and I really want to see that to continue. And I would just echo my councilman here, colleagues' comments, and just how important it is to stay, keep your paperwork in order, and
please.
So with that, I think I've said all I'm going to, but I really hope we can just continue to move forward.
Yes, thank you. Certainly appreciate certainly appreciate the Bucks turnout this evening here. My son did play for the Bucks 1 year. Usually the first to practice and the last to leave. Had some good stories about climbing the secure fence there and getting scolded by some of the Bucks organization because they were protecting and trying to make sure that they're abiding by their agreement with the town. That's a fun story to tell. One of the things that I wanted to mention, I know there was a comment earlier this evening about, I believe there was a belief, some of you folks, that it was an intentional move to have the sports agreement and have the president's remarks, I believe, here at the end of this. These are new business items, folks, and this is the appropriate place on our agenda to have those. And I do like that they're at the end of all of the new business here. It seems appropriate to me. The other thing, I'm going to just a couple comments, and I do have some questions about the agreement and the memo you have here, Holly. I know some of us have just seen this recently. The resignation of the previous president, Greg Disney. I know that many of you, I've known Greg Disney. It's been an acquaintance for quite a while. I mean, I've been in and around Kellums Field and enjoy the atmosphere that the teams bring. I know that the local businesses appreciate the business and the traffic that comes through from out of county, well, not out of county folks, but we serve all of Northern Calvert County youth, not just the Twin Beach area. That is something that we need to make sure that we keep front center. I'm not certain that we'll get into some of the county stuff there, but Greg Disney has meant a lot to this community, and he's been very giving, selfless volunteer, despite some of the issues. I think that I'm hoping that Greg, and he may still very well be on the sidelines for the Bucks for many seasons to come. I think that we're all looking forward after this very difficult baseline reset that we're going through right now. A question, Holly, why did the county stop the oversight with the Bucks? What was the trigger? And this is a little bit of a rhetorical question, but what triggered the town to assume that oversight? Was it the complete ownership of the facility? Okay. Yeah, because the town has owned large portions of that complex for over 40 years. And so we're saying then that the transfer, the balance of that property then has, did the county, when the county, it was a little news thinking about this, and there's a lot to unpack, but when the land was transferred, did the county have a discussion with us and requiring that, okay, saying, town, now you need to take sole oversight of this one single youth sports organization? And there are many in the county that the county has had oversight for.
So I did have a conversation with the county, and yes, they said that now that the town owns this, they would no longer manage the youth sports agreement, that it would now need to come directly through the town. So yes.
They basically said they're not going to have any oversight, anything, because a lot of these things that have been points of contention, I guess, fiscal responsibility, that the county has provided all of that oversight for all of these youth sports organizations over the years. It's my understanding, and I would like, to get some clarity from the county level a little bit, but it's my understanding that they haven't had any significant problems with youth organizations over the years. I'm not as familiar with these agreements as maybe I ought to be, but I know that these audits are a condition of their boilerplate agreements. So though that type of oversight is still in those agreements, the county hasn't, my understanding, there hasn't been anything that's triggered the county to delve into and initiate an audit.
Probably don't have all the facts on that statement.
Maybe. Okay. Well, what the county has done in the past and what they're doing there, I mean, it will help shed some light on this for everybody, I think, including myself. Some things here in the memo here, please. Let's see. Item 8, the Bucks agree to provide assurance of all proper accounting controls and processes for transactions for my colleague over here, as any other related youth sports organization or association permittee in the county should be doing. The item 12 in the concession stand, I heard cabinets and painting. That's pretty simple stuff. I mean, I know there's some stuff looking forward, but is that stuff, is our goal to have that prepared at least and ready for the opening for fall season or what?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the timeline is not. Okay, so, well, it's a great goal. Well, I don't like the way even use the word goal in there because it does seem kind of easy there. Our target seems to be the end of summerish, if you will, please.
Yeah, so to clarify, the concession stand needed repairs to meet health department requirements. So there are pretty significant repairs that need to take place, including a new slide down door, cabinets, and some equipment as
Okay,
well.
to doing a new overhead roll down door. I get, okay, I get some of that. All right. Sounds pretty simple to do. There'll be definitely more room to talk here at the end of this, please. If we could get through this first, please. The item 13. I know that there have been fundraising restrictions. Are we looking and working towards, I know that it seems to me that the fundraising that the Bucks have been doing isn't much different than, or any different than a lot of the other youth sports organizations seem to have the ability to do with the county. If some of that is related to looking backwards, I get it. Looking forwards, we need to find a way to relax that for sure, and come back to transparent but previous levels. Users of the facility over there, which right now are the Bucks organization, are they required to police the facility while they're using the facility?
Trash?
Well, if there's somebody smoking or somebody illegally parked, somebody doing something that, you know, I mean, I don't know. I'm just.
So the Beach Bucks, they'll receive a list of rules. So there are rules of the facility. And so we do ask to have a point of contact, and we do ask the communication with all parents and volunteers of the rules of the facility. So yes, if you are using it and you're agreeing to follow, the youth sports agreement is clear that you are to make sure that the rules are followed. We have been staffing it. So if we have staff available, they'll definitely assist with that. We've been having to staff the field more. So that has definitely helped.
Well, it's definitely our responsibility as being shepherd of that area there now. That requirement, the police, if you will, kind of quote unquote a little bit, is I get a responsibility to town taxpayer property, but is that something that the county requires of the other youth sports organizations to police that sort of stuff? I mean, it seems a little. I get the budgeting part and the costs and all of this, and it's part of where this is going. Is there's a little overlap that we're starting to see that maybe we need to pull the county in the fold a little bit here on some things, but.
So yeah, the county does require, I mean, all of the requirements of trash and keeping the area clean and leaving it how you received it, locking the gate. Those are all requirements. Yes.
Well, if there's any counterpoint to that comment, I'd appreciate if they could speak to that when the appropriate time, please. Let's see. Percent. Again, I know we talked about this briefly before. Percentages of enrollment coming from the town. I get where our administration is coming from now, being the shepherd there, but we've got to be careful with that. I'm not sure if I'm in favor of that, and it's something to keep our eye on. I think that requirement lends itself to the town being the overseer there now, but the youth sports organization ought to be able to function at a normal capacity even if those levels are less than town, certain under these thresholds, that would speak back towards some of the county, pulling the county in some of this discussion, and that's going to be fluid from year to year. But
I would say the team has never been restricted by that percentage. But there has the team. We don't expect that they would always have that large amount of town residents, but so it's more of a goal, and we have never implemented that.
I'm going to quiz you here. Are there other youth sports organizations within any other municipality in the county? I think there's only 3. Is there 3? And one down there in Lusby somewhere. I guess where I'm going with that is
municipalities.
okay. So it's just up here. So then that leaves it to the county. The county hasn't had any requirements for somebody operating in Dunkirk to be a certain percentage.
I'd have to look at their current one, but I do recall that they have a requirement for Calvert County resident, and that was where we pulled the Chesapeake Beach resident.
Well,
Please.
But I will look at the.
I'm just probing these so we can get some of this stuff out in the open and we can
I will
have a
pull the
fuller understanding.
current county U.S.
Certainly appreciate that. Thank you. I'd like to get a copy of the county document, just share with my colleagues here, just so they can kind of end up side by side with the town's one, just to take a look. I think that's probably due diligence, and probably everybody here expects us to do that. Let's see. Again, both parties recognize that prior accounting practices of the team are unacceptable. I don't know if there's a disagreement with that, but there's a painful resetting of this baseline, and there's a new table setting here, and it has a lot to do with the new leadership here with the Bucks organization. There's a lot of commendation there. There's been probably countless, but I know they've tried to quantify their hours and trying to dig out of some things that try to help reset this thing moving forward. Some of this to me certainly doesn't feel small town. We talk about small town values all the time, and I know that moving forward we're going to recalibrate some things a little bit here. I'd like to end this by again a reference. I had met the new Bucks leadership at Windy Hill recently, and love Windy Hill, that open space up there. My son went through there. It's windy. Anybody that goes up there, big, great open space. And I was going up there to meet the president, Jason, who I've been acquaintances with. I'm not really sure how long. We pass each other here and there and have discussions. But I wanted to specifically address, he had brought Jamie along with him to my surprise. And I was there to talk as long as they wanted to, and it was there to listen and just kind of probe and look at some things. And I had his son was there, and he sat there on the ground for about 45 minutes, it seemed to me. Very patient, I know he wants to play football down here, and walking away from the meeting, it struck me that did he feel welcome at Kelps Field? With all of this kind of happening, how did he feel? How do the children feel that are, we're there to serve that? We've got some issues to work through maybe with the county, but that's why that was originally there. There was a lady that I not acquaintances with her. She gave us a really great history, the original transfer there, and that's great. The town does own that property now. I did emphasize with the group that night that that area is in transition for multi-use, but we by no means, it needs to remain a spot there for youth sports organizations in Northern Calvert County, and that's undoubtedly. So I was just concerned with how the children felt, with all of this. So let's kind of keep that in mind, as we all try to reel some of this in a little bit. We're going to try to reset some trust here moving forward, and I think that we're on our way. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wanted to echo and support comments of my colleagues. I agree with all of them. I Feel that this is unfortunate that this has progressed to this point, and I hope we can work through this very quickly and move on together. This is a key component of our town, and we have to work this out for our kids. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll also try to be brief. I grew up in a small town in sports. In my case, it was wrestling. I grew up in Pennsylvania. You know, I learned more from the people that I associated with, and I keep in touch today with some of those people. Of course, I wasn't the best student either, but that's a topic for another day. But I think we also have to recognize, you know, we can talk about small town, and we also have to recognize a little bit the sign of the times we live in. One of the first things that I asked about in some of our earlier discussions about this were, I hate to say this, but lawsuits. You know, what happens if a kid gets hurt, God forbid, and an I somewhere is not dotted, a T's not crossed, and the right insurance policies aren't in place. You know, I have a friend who worked with up in Baltimore with a local SPCA branch, and they did a fundraiser, and they made cookies in someone's kitchen, and some kid ate a cookie with peanuts in it, and you know there's possibility that they're going to get sued. Now, I doubt it'll come to that, but that's something they're fighting through. So when you talk about running a concession stand, these are things we have to be aware of. It's unfortunate, but it's a sign of the time. So, you know, I had heard nothing but positive comments after the meeting up until tonight, and I hear the frustration, but I really hope we can, and I'm sure that we can move this forward in a positive way. And I'll end there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next, Jason. '22.
Let me put it into real perspective. My name is Jason Cubbage. I'm the president of the Beach Bucks Youth Club.
You mind giving us your address, sir?
I live in Huntingtown. There have been a lot of comments made here tonight. Originally, we had a joint statement prepared, but I wholeheartedly cannot read that. We're here in the 11th hour, and we're hurt by the actions of the town to shame our organization one more time. Just minutes before, I would be making a statement praising the town leadership and expressing significant gratitude to the mayor for drawing a line in the sand to move forward. Interestingly enough, that quote was asked to be by the town to be removed from my original statement. I know you would agree, petty back and forth does nothing for the community or the kids. It's a waste of time and resources for all. Our kids deserve the absolute best, and we can't give that to them if we're constantly beat down. We have stated numerous times and in many forums, public and private, that we've been failed, or that we failed. Our books were a mess, and we are working our hardest to fix our errors. The answer cannot just be follow the youth sports agreement. While we signed the 2023 version, it was only done because without doing so, our kids will not have a field for spring sports. The 2023 youth sports agreement had significant modifications from the 2022 version. These modifications were deliberate and include requirements such as permanent access to all our banking accounts, QuickBooks, in order to monitor all our transactions in real time. Mayor and the council members, we want to move forward. We need you to step up as part of your civic duty and get involved. Not being familiar is no longer good enough. The town council is responsible for how this community operates. No one else. I ask you, where do each of you stand, and what are you going to do to help the residents that you represent?
Let it go. Thank you. At this point in time, public comment.
Jamie Schultz, 8312 Legacy Circle. Now, I'm going to be brief because it needs to be brief. As I sit here and watch what's going on tonight, I'm just, we talked earlier. We have a partnership. We're going to have meetings. We're going to have work groups. We're going to solve this. We're going to partner. We're going to fix this. I'm embarrassed. You're my representatives. I live in town. I'm embarrassed by our council. Sir, we met and you're laughing. You were laughing. You sat there, laughed. I'm embarrassed by this is the treatment. I moved here 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I retired out of the Pentagon. I decided I'm planting my roots here. I'm embarrassed. I built a $700,000 home in this town, and I'm embarrassed that I live here. You represent me. I get it that a bunch of volunteers messed up on books. I get it. They're not CPAs. They don't have a CPA doing all their stuff. I get it. I wrote almost all the documents that were published. I spent over 100 hours going through those documents. I emailed every single one of you the links to those documents. If you failed to read that information, you have failed me. You have failed the community, and you have failed the youth in this community, and you have failed to do your duty as our councilman. This is not about just fiduciary and financial obligations. I understand that. And I stated that many, many, many times. I told the Bucks they were a mess. I told the town, you're a mess. The actions of this council are ridiculous. I've had many conversations, Holly, with you about the youth sports agreement. The statement he read where it says, you can't just point to the youth sports agreement. That cannot be the answer. I can read the words, but what it means in action is different because every time I take an action, we get a reaction that is negative, or you have to do something additional, or sir, the town lawyer emails me telling me I'm wrong. You have failed me. You have failed both my sons, and you have failed this town. And it is on you to step up and fix it. And if you don't step up and fix it, the community will fix that, and they will replace you.
Just to extend Mr. Schul's comments and Buccaneers as well, Steve Jones, 7877 Old Bayside Road. I live across from the water tower. I hope it doesn't fail. But that's not what I'm going to come up here to talk about. Again, 33 years with the organization. I can probably count on one hand. I don't know where you understand where our budget is, what money we directly receive from the town. We're not an agency of the town. We occupy and use the field at the good graces of the town and previously with the county. How much do each of you know does the town spend on the Buccaneers proper every year? And the second question I was going to ask earlier is, how much have you spent on the audit that we went through for the last year and a half and the attorney's fees and all that sort of stuff at taxpayers' expense to get us to where we are now, that we recognize and admit where we've had some difficulties in the past? I am a town resident and spending money. My kids, grandkids have come through this organization, and I too share Mr. Scholl's embarrassment with the counties, with the council's actions and the heavy-handedness by the town administration. I don't think any one of you would sign that sports agreement if you had a business or an entity with that heavy-handedness and require full access to all the bank accounts and to all the transactions and everything. It's continued punishment for misdeeds in the past, and that should stop.
Thank you.
I got two more things. Are you guys aware that we signed a youth sports agreement for both the town and the county? Why do we need two youth sports agreements? Secondly, is the council aware that when we were relocated out of our shed, that years ago we helped fundraise, that we had to go purchase a shed and spend $8,000 of money that we fundraised from businesses, local businesses? You guys didn't offset any of those costs. Why?
Stop.
Is there any other comment?
Gina Strohacker, and I live in Owings now, but I lived in this community right across the street for 15 years of my life. My son started off with the Beach Buccaneers when he was 4. He is now 17 years old and going to graduate next year. These people right here, most of them I've known. This is not just friends. We are a family. I've known and I've had somebody who's like a sister to me. And there's 4 boys that are along with my son that are still friends to this day. They're not just friends, we're family. They're my nephews. And if this breaks apart, then a family breaks apart. And I'm ashamed of that. And I love the Beach Buccaneers, and I've been with them for 15 years of my life. We don't have the same parties like we used to, because I feel like y'all took that away from us. We can't have the same homecoming. We used to have bouncy houses, concession stands. We have none of that no more because y'all say we're not allowed to have that. So please, this is our family. We're family here. Don't take that away from us. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jake Jones. I live at 7877 Old Bayside Road. That's my father. I've been a resident my whole life, grew up in the Bucks. I'm one of those kids that you guys say that you support, want to hear your whole life. I'm not sure I'll be a member of or a resident of Chesapeake Beach my whole life, but I know I'll be a Beach Buck my whole life. Mr. Morris, the one you're talking about is Cheryl Emery, one half of the woman whose name on that building over there, who's named after that building. Beach Bucks are that building over there. We are that field over there. We just want to be there. We want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of the plan that you guys have over there. You talk about a plan over there that you want to build, that you want to improve the field. We want to be a part of that plan. You guys never come to us ask what we want to do on the field over there, what improvements we want to be a part of. We just want to be a part of that. We want to be at that table. We want to be there. We want to be there forever. I want to be there forever. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Kristen Gibbons, Huntingtown, Maryland. Now I'm here as a board member. I am the current treasurer for the Beach Buccaneers. And I'd like to add that the access that the town has asked us for, we have already abided by that. You have access to our bank accounts. You have access to our QuickBooks. It is reconciled. It is to the penny, and it has been since all of this started. We are working our asses off to do what you want us to do and to do it correctly. We just need some forgiveness for the past. That's all we're asking. We want to move forward. We don't want to lose the Beach Bucks. It's important to all of us behind us. But we need your help. We cannot do it without you guys. But the back and forth is not going to work. We will win. I promise you.
If you will, Coach Ron.
How you doing? I'm Dave Gaines. I live in Prince Frederick. Probably gonna cry. My team knows. My organization knows I'm a crier. So I just wanted to address some of the questions that you did have. I'm originally from New Jersey. I came out here to work at the nuclear power plant. Best decision of my life. Had 2 kids born here. So planting our roots, I did the same. I moved here in August. Football already started. Dallas Disney over there, or Greg Disney, as some do know him as. He sees my kids coming out of the car running. Hey, you play football? Dude, it's August. It's past the time. I'm good right now. I don't know what's going to happen. No, man, come out. Trust me, it's going to be great. All right, I trust you. Let's go. Beach Buccaneers. Didn't know it was a 25-minute ride from Prince Frederick. But that day, that season changed my entire life. I say that because I planted my roots here. I say that because I don't want to move. I'm leaving behind kids who have become my kids. The question about do the kids feel welcome? My son texts me because he's watching this right now. He's 12. Pop, go up there. Show him why it matters, how much it means to us, because we don't feel it. We had to start at Windy this beginning of the season. For many reasons, it doesn't matter, but we started at Windy for practice. We had to go back to Windy for practice. Not all of our teams are even on the field right now because we want to make sure that we have enough for our organization. So the kids don't feel welcome. We have kids here today that still want to play, still want to be a part of it. That's what matters, is these kids. And all this back and forth that us adults are doing is not helping them. And we're shedding it. Like parents, we will. They don't see it because that's our job. And the other part of that job is what Jamie has been doing for us, what Kristen has been doing for us, what everyone has been doing, what Greg Disney did. He had to step down. He didn't want to, but he knew it was the right thing for the club. That hurt. That hurt me. That man has accepted me into his life and has helped my family and showed me exactly how to be a coach, not just a coach, but a mentor. We started something great and we want to keep it going, but we need your help. It shouldn't be a back and forth. And another one of your questions is 50% for the county. We adopted that. What we do, and that 28% I saw those numbers. It's not 28% that we have for flag football. Take that number out. We're 25% of the league. And that league is St. Mary's and it's Calvert County. What the Beach Buccaneers offer, none of these other organizations, these youth organizations have. We have a basketball program. I don't see any other organization out there, youth group, that does that. They focus on football. We opened it up to ensure that these kids are year-round. There's something. They are occupied. They are figuring it out. And we're helping coach them through life because that's what matters, is the kids. I can care less about a concession stand. But I guarantee if you would have asked this organization, can you help us? They would have built it for a lot less. Materials. The time we just spent on this audit, that would have been done for free. Just like us going through this audit was for free. That's what matters. We will chip in if you want us to chip in. I guarantee you right now, you ask us to go do that, we can save looking at that budget, it's tough to look at. Some of the things we said, it doesn't make sense, but that's fine. We're following the laws. We can save you $50,000 by helping you with that. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Jamar Gross. I live in Owings. I played for Miss Emery and Mike Emery from the time I was 6 until 14. I grew up. I moved away for a couple years. I bought a house in Calvert County in Owens. Stand up, son. That's my son. Raise your hand, Amari. That's his best friend. That's my wife. She runs the concession stand. His best friend currently lives with me as a coach. I lived with my coaches for a bit when I was younger. I've always been a part of this community. I've always been a part of this town. I spent a lot of years here. I came back and coached my son from the time he was 4 till he was 14. He's in Northern High right now, along with his best friend. I put 10 years back in coaching here after I played here. So I know what it's like to be here in this community, in this town. And it doesn't feel right. Right now, it doesn't feel right. I'm just letting you guys know that coming from somebody that's been here the entire time. I'm 45 years old. I'm a union plumber. I fixed stuff over there, anything that was needed. I watched my wife spend countless hours making sure we passed the code for the health department so we can run concessions. My boys carry that stuff. I pick up trash off the field. All the stuff that we're getting hammered on, I've done personally. I clean the toilets over there because it's part of it. I'm coaching. I could go home like everybody else. No, I go, I clean the bathroom to make sure everything so we can have that space. And like I said, it just doesn't feel right. I just want everybody up here to recognize that it does not feel right.
Hello, my name's Bree. I'll just say Cubbage for the record. I live in Huntingtown, and I might be out of line for saying this, but since we're being transparent, it seems very transparent that a lot of the funds coming up for the field and outside of the field are maybe not intended for the Bucks, which is fine. However, it seems as though you keep repeating that you can't wait to put all of this money towards this organization. It's not for this organization. The money that you would save from the concession won't work for you because it's intended for other reasons. So what volunteers could build for a concession for the Bucks probably isn't up to the standards of what you need it to be for the recreational space you're trying to create that doesn't necessarily incorporate the Bucks. I do not have kids in the Buccaneers, but I assure you I live, breathe, and eat the Buccaneers daily. Jason Cubbage. I stand behind him 100%, although we don't have children yet in the Buccaneers. I hate to think that they won't play at Kellums Field. That thought goes through my mind a lot. My 18-month-old son will run on that field as an 18-month-old, but I'm afraid that he might not get to play on Kellums Field. I can assure you that if things don't move in a forward direction, unfortunately, they did not move in that direction maybe tonight, but if they don't move in that direction, we will be welcomed with open arms somewhere else. And that's really unfortunate, but I assure you it will happen. And although you might come back from that and this town might move on without the Bucks, you'll leave that taste in everyone's mouth that they will not soon forget.
My name is Kathleen Flanagan. I'm from Tracy's Landing, and I'm a grandmother. Obviously, I'm a mother. I've been around youth sports my entire life. My kids were raised up in Anne Arundel County with United Youth Club, and we fundraise for a living. That's the primary core of any youth organization. My daughter and her sons were in another organization down south. And when they first came to Beach Bucks a few years ago, we came to the homecoming. And I remember remarking to her, this is fantastic. This is a wonderful organization. I love this organization. It's bigger, it's better, it is a family. So I'm sitting here listening to all of this and the back and forth and everything going on. And I'm sad for everyone that this has come to this and that we're trying to move forward. I'm sad for the kids, but I'd like to address a couple of points on your slide here, because I've listened to all this about the concession stand and the fields and the shed and everything else. So the slide says both parties are committed to transparency and acknowledge the guidelines. So I'd like to understand, and I don't know if you all answer questions tonight or just listen, I'd like to understand where the transparency was when you took out the $50,000 to replace the concession stand. Did you let the Bucks know? Did you put RFPs out? Did you get 3 contractors to reply? Where was that in the budget? Or was it just planned, off the cuff? So I think if we're going to be adults about this, transparency needs to go both ways. Additionally, providing the town and public ongoing information related to revenue and expenses. I know you do that as well. And it needs to be more transparent with what are we doing with Kellums Field? We spent $1 million. We're going to spend $3 million. To Bree's point, it's not $3 million on the Bucks. It's $3 million on the Kellum revitalization. So let's all, to Jamie's point, be adults here, be transparent both ways, and let the kids continue to have this family. Thank you.
like the opportunity to extend my previous remarks to the pleas of the council. Steve Jones, Old Bayside Road. Going back to transparency, we meet monthly, first Tuesday of every month over here at Northeast Community Center here. I don't recall a single one of you over there. And I've been with the organization 33 years. I invite you. You want to see transparency? Come to the meeting. We scrape by on a budget. There have been the comments I've seen have implied that money is unaccounted for, and you just, if you attended those meetings, you would not have to share that thought. And if accounting practices lead you to believe that, we've gone way out of our way to try to rectify that. We're not professional CPAs, as was pointed out earlier. Come to the meeting, be a part of the Buccaneers, be a part of your community you serve, and represent us.
Because you're letting the public speak. This is the public comment period, sir. Please. Go ahead.
You're not even looking in the eye. You're not even giving your full attention. Okay, everybody knows that trick. We can nod your head up and down like you listen. When's the session when you answer questions? That's what I like. Because you served the board. You told them money was misappropriated. It's a big word for stealing. Okay, then you conduct the audit. Did you find that funds were misappropriated? If they weren't, did you apologize for serving these people, telling them that they're volunteers? It's hard to coach other people's children. That's why everybody won't coach. Okay? There's no amount of money you can steal that's gonna pay back your time. Okay? I'm not from Chesapeake. I live in Chesapeake Beach. I know you're wondering. I know you want to know. I live in Chesapeake. I'm not from here. I moved here from Peachtree County. When my son was old enough to play floor, I asked my wife, I play football. Oh, he's a buck. Her brother was a buck. Brother never played football before. First player ever ran the ball 50 yards for a touchdown. My family, we're bucks. I'm not even from here. I'm a buck. Been a buck 10 years now. When is the session when you answer questions? Because transparency, you're not doing it. Let's be transparent. When can I come back and get my questions answered? You can't even answer that.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to move on to council lightning round, and I'm going to begin with Councilwoman Hart. Please. Council lightning round. You want Charlie to go first? Councilman Fink.
Can I say something before you go to lightning round? real
Sure.
quick? So my name's Karen Murphy. I live in North Beach. I've been a longtime member of the Buccaneers. My name's on one of the plaques that sits over there at the field. So if you cause a lot of restraints and a lot of things, you're going to cause a domino effect to push the Bucks out. You push the Bucks out, you're taking away not only a safe place for kids to go who don't have a safe place at home, and you're also taking away something for them to do. And one of the things, that's big around, nowadays, drugs, drug abuse, drug awareness. It's going young, kids are younger and younger are doing it every day. That's something that's going to help hopefully prevent them from doing this. So if you take that away, kids have nothing else to do around here. They're going to go, oh, what's this? And they're going to potentially try it. That's one thing you also have to think of. And piggybacks off of a lot of what other members have said, the kids. That's, the Bucks was a safe place for me growing up. That's where I went to get away from all my home frustrations. So that's one thing you guys really need to keep in mind with all of this.
Thank you. Once again, Councilman Fink.
Well, I'm not really sure how to follow that. I'm a bit blindsided by the rancor. I'm not going to, how do I say this? I need to learn more, apparently, because I thought we were further along. I thought we were further along than we are. So I'll stop there.
Two things. One is I agree with my colleague. I'm going to work hard to work this out. Like what happened. And then just in conclusion, a reminder about the bridge renaming and dedication next Thursday at 10 a.m. Thank you.
I, yeah, I've tried to follow along, over the last year and a half. I've been following some of this. Certainly hasn't been the best that I could do. And I have a lot to learn too, it sounds like. Why, I'm not sure why we're talking about the Bucks leaving. You know, that's like that, and that's not that this body, I haven't heard from this body at all, Bucks leaving. I hear Bucks leaving coming from the people here. And folks,
please,
we are trying to wrap up. It's unthinkable. That's unthinkable to me. And it would be a travesty that we couldn't come back from if we lose a sports organization. And again, these are some words that are coming from the gallery here. It would be an unbearable heavy burden to carry if we lose a sports organization here in this town. It's a privilege to serve children in any capacity. A lot of the business and things that we tend to hear affect, so much of it affects everybody, not just in town, outside of town. It affects a lot of children. And whether it's Kellums Field and the sports organization, I've seen it firsthand with Seabox in the way that touches children's lives. Our support for Beach Elementary School here is solid. You know, the water park, I know we've got issues with some accessibility there, but this is there to serve the enjoyment, not just of visitors, but of people and children here. Seeing the joy on kids' faces in all of these type of environments are things that we should be striving for, and we do. So, you know, that being said, 43 years that the Bucks have been here in town, I want to say that we're looking forward to another 43 years here in town, please. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and telling us how you feel. I do appreciate that. I did meet with Jamie and the mayor. As I said earlier, like I said earlier as well, I was a bit shocked to hear this because I thought we had reached an agreement after that meeting. And I obviously need to learn more as well. I'm not just shocked, I'm flabbergasted a little bit here because like I said, I saw those emails going back. I thought there was an agreement, a meeting of the minds between the town and the Bucks. And then when folks got here, the presentation, that I was not, you know, I wasn't on those emails about the presentation. I'm sorry, what? I understand that now. Yes. And I was not on those emails back and forth about the slideshow.
That is not true.
Yeah, well, we'll let it go. That definitely is not true, but go ahead, sir.
So
That is not, it's completely not true. No, I do not. It's not true.
I know, it's important to tell the truth. Okay. We're actually not in this portion of the meeting, sir. And please. Keith, if it's done, I'll move on.
Well, and two, I just wanted also to apologize for laughing earlier. That was not meant about anything that was being discussed. It was about myself and forgetting my colleague's name, Hartman, when I was referring to her, and I just felt like a total idiot for doing that, and that's why I was smiling and chuckling to myself about that. And so just wanted to clear that. It had nothing to do with what the discussion was about, because I do take this very seriously, and I do, to echo Councilman Morris's words, you know, to me, there was no question that the Bucks are staying here and that we were just moving on to the next phase. And so, and I certainly,
Please,
I understand what you're saying. And we're going,
please, you can finish.
we're gonna, and I'm hoping we can move forward. So with that, I'm gonna be quiet and
Thank you.
let
And
Councilwoman
and
Hartman.
lastly,
I would like to echo Councilman Fink's comments. When we came into this, I really did think it was a small accounting problem that was just going to be sorted and taxes would be filed and things would be done and that was it. And I was also very surprised at everything that came out tonight as far as your feelings of being betrayed by the town, being lied to by the town. And I'm very distressed that that has come to this. And I hope, and I think we can make the trust continue or at least rebuild it with you. Thank you.
thank you, Peggy. Okay, now, is there a motion to close the town meeting under statutory act to move to a closed meeting under statutory act of Maryland Code pursuant to general provisions, Article 3-305B, subsection 3, to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and matters directly related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would, and we have it. This meeting's over, people. What a setup. Peggy? Yeah. That's tough. Such a. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it.